brothers and sisters, the problems we face are real, but so are the solutions. We can rebuild our economy, we can create jobs, we can restore faith in governance, but we must commit to the hard work of change. You were not appointed to occupy space. You were appointed to solve problems. Let me remind you of the social contract we have entered into. The Ghanaian people expect us to deliver, and we must not with excuses, but with results. I've said before and I repeat now, this is the legacy term of my presidency. I intend to make it count. I intend for it to matter. And I expect that every member of this administration will do the same. We must work with a sense of urgency, and President Jonathan spoke about the 4-year term. Our young people are tired of waiting interminably. Our farmers, our workers, our entrepreneurs, especially our women and youth, want to see policies that work for them. They want fairness, they want opportunity, they want to live in dignity and prosperity. Indeed, they are not asking for handouts. They're asking to be given a fair shot. And let's give them just that. The task before us requires leadership that is empathetic, that is disciplined and accountable, leadership that is not defined by titles, but by service, that is not defined by slogans, but by substance. And so I issue this challenge to each of you to lead your sectors with vision and integrity, to champion innovation, make decisions based on facts and data and not on guesswork. Spend public funds wisely and judiciously. Reject opulence. And never forget, your first duty is to the people of Ghana and not to your own political survival, not to the applause you will get, and not to your personal gain. I want each of you to leave this retreat with a clarity of purpose and with the humility to keep learning. This job is not about knowing it all. It is about listening. For example, I'll stay true to the values. And please remember, when any of us fall short, I will not hesitate to act. I didn't think that was what you would clap for. Let us leave here with renewed determination. Let us work not for applause, but for results. Let us lead with honor, and let us remember always that the true measure of our success will be the lives we touch and the legacy we leave behind. And finally, let me remind us all that the destiny of our party and our future success depends on the legacy that this current administration will establish. And so we must give it our all. We must work together to make our party's future successful. I therefore have the privilege and honor to declare this executive leadership program duly open.
In public. A lot has been said, but in order that all the issues surrounding it are put in perspective and that we have an understanding of what they are and what they are and where government stands on all of these, been joined by the Minister, the Honorable Kwabena Akando, who also doubles as the Member of Parliament for the good people of Gaboso in the Western North region. He's here with a team of officials from the ministry to take us through the issues at stake with a view to full understanding of all the matters that are at play. So without taking any more of your time, I would invite the Honorable Health Minister, the Honorable Kwabena Akando, to make his presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Felix, the Minister in charge of Communication, the Honorable Deputy Minister for Health, I've seen my chief director at the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health, all officers from the ministry, the media. I'll be doing this presentation with members from the GIPS, Conrad Jokoto and Dr. Anita. Before I begin to say anything, let me put it on record that the medical records of Ghanaians will never go back to our way. We are moving forward responsibly, confidently, and decisively. At this point, I would want to share with you facts inherited. In 2019, Ghana government signed a contract with a company called Lightwaves. And the contract sum was $100 million to connect 950 health facilities. The contract was supposed to expire in 2022. At the end of 2022, the contract was not well executed. And if I say not well executed, he had not connected the 950 facilities. And therefore, the contract was extended twice to expire in 31st December 2024. At the end of the expiration, out of the 950 facilities, only 450 facilities had been connected. At this point, you'd all agree with me that the contract was meant for 3 years and extended to for 5 years for 950 facilities, and you have only delivered 450 facilities. Clearly, nobody needs to tell you that the company underperformed. And so when we took over as part of the contract, they were supposed to hand over whatever they executed to the state. So the contract was divided into what we call milestones. Milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3. So at the end of each milestone, they are supposed to hand over to the state. You all agree with me that it's unconscionable for any individual or company to have access to the medical records, electronic medical records of Ghanaians without the state taking control, without the state having access to it, without having even access to the service. With a cloud infrastructure built somewhere in India. At this point, when we took over, we invited the vendor that the contract had expired and therefore they must hand over to the state.
Continue this process for the next month.
So we needed to understand exactly what was taking over. So a forensic was conducted. And when we realized was that even the hardware, there were gaps in the supply of the hardwares. The supply of computers. If, assuming in the contract is stated that they should supply HP laptops, you go and cheaper brands are supplied. They should supply, let's say 100, you go and less than 100. So there were issues of quality of the equipment or material supplied, and there were issues of quantity, the number supplied. And so upon analysis, you realize that the gap alone was not less than $18 million. Again, I have stated that the contract sum was $100 million. At the end of 31st December 2024, although 450 out of the 950 had been connected. The vendor had been paid about $77 million. Clearly, more than 70% of the total amount had been paid. And 50% of the work has been done. At that point, we had to refer everything to the AG and the appropriate quarters, including the security, for advice and appropriate action. As a ministry, what we had to concern ourselves with was the solution of the matter to get out this mess. In order to avoid these disruptions and the shutdowns we are experiencing, although we didn't have any contract with the vendor as at the time we took over, we indicated to the vendor that the is ready to sign service maintenance agreement covering the 450 health facilities. Don't forget that the software is and was not for the state. That is why it's called LIMS, Light Wave Health Information Management System. It's not for the state. In the agreement, we indicated that before we sign such an agreement with you, you have to hand over the data to the state, and you must give us administrative access to the service. The vendor insisted that those clauses must be expunged from the agreement. We cannot expunge those clauses from the agreement because it is a state that's of these data. So the vendor decided to switch the system of as and when he desires and as and when he demands what. And this has some time now, more than 2 months. And for the past 2 weeks or so, completely down. If this is not blackmailing, I don't know what it is. At that point, what was important was to find a solution to get out of this mess. And so, ladies and gentlemen, news is that we have the solution. And the solution, in finding the solutions, we have taken cognizance of the issues that have gotten us here. The issues we were resolving, one were the issues. The issues, one, was that the software didn't belong to the state. And so when we are going for any, the must be for the state. And so today we have games. And the games is Ghana Health Information Management System. And not for any individual. The next solution was the fact that there was nothing like any exchange. And so we have established an exchange where even if you invite any vendor in, the vendor will then plug in and will not have, any vendor will not have a direct integration to our billing system or to any other sector. You necessarily will have to go through the exchange. Again, we realized that we were going through these difficulties because the system was monopolized. It was only one person we were dealing with. The solution again is that out of the 90 health facilities, only 450 had been connected, and therefore we have an outstanding of about 5 400 health facilities. Going forward, we'll open companies and players in the sector to bid, provided the implement, so that we'll open it up and they will all go through the exchange they were, so that we will not end at where we are at the moment. The plan going forward is that in the next 1 week, we are going to begin with the teaching hospitals, the regional hospitals, and the highly populated district hospitals, to roll them over onto the system, the game. In the second week, we'll be looking at the rest of the district hospitals. And then in the third week, we'll be looking at the polyclinics, the health centers, and the chips. In the fourth week, we'll do the mop-ups. So I am confidently announcing to the good people of this country that we have a 4 weeks plan that will get us out of this mess. And so at this point, I will allow Dr. Anita Opon to do her presentation, and that will be followed by Conrad Jokoto to also present to you the games system, how it's going to function, and tell you some of the superior functions of the games system. So I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. You did a very good job for me. Thank you. Okay, so why are we...
Thank you very much, Felix, the Minister in charge of communication, the Honorable Deputy Minister for Health. I've seen my Chief Director at the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health, all officers from the ministry, the media. I'll be doing this presentation with members from the GIFs, Conrad Jokoto and Dr. Anita. Before I begin to say anything, let me put it on record that the medical records of Ghanaians will never go back to our way. We are moving forward responsibly, confidently, and decisively. At this point, I would want to share with you facts inherited. In 2019, Ghana government signed a contract with a company called Lightwaves. And the contract sum was $100 million to connect 950 health facilities. The contract was supposed to expire in 2022. At the end of 2022, the contract was not well executed. And if I say not well executed, he had not connected the 950 facilities. And therefore, the contract was extended twice to expire in 31st December 2024. At the end of the expiration, out of the 950 facilities, only 450 facilities had been connected. At this point, you'd all agree with me that the contract was meant for 3 years and extended for 5 years for 950 facilities, and you have only delivered 450 facilities. Clearly, nobody needs to tell you that the company underperformed. And so when we took over, as part of the contract, they were supposed to hand over whatever they executed to the state. So the contract was divided into what we call milestones. Milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3. So at the end of each milestone, they are supposed to hand over to the state. You all agree with me that it's unconscionable for any individual or company to have access to the medical records, electronic medical records of Ghanaians without the state taking control, without the state having access to it, without having even access to the service. With a cloud infrastructure built somewhere in India. At this point, when we took over, we invited the vendor that the contract had expired and therefore they must hand over to the state. And so we needed to understand exactly what taking over. So a forensic was conducted. And when we realized was that even the hardware, there were gaps in the supply of the hardware. The supply of computers. If, assuming in the contract is stated that they should supply HP laptops, you go and cheaper brands are supplied. They should supply, let's say 100, you go and less than 100. So there were issues of quality of the equipment or material supplied, and there were issues of quantity, the number supplied. And so upon analysis, you realize that the gap alone was not less than $18 million. Again, I have stated that the contract sum was $100 million. At the end of 31st December 2024, although 450 out of the 950 had been connected, the vendor had been paid about $77 million. Clearly, more than 70% of the total amount had been paid. And 50% of the work has been done. At that point, we had to refer everything to the AG and the appropriate quarters, including the security, for advice and appropriate action. As a ministry, what we had to concern ourselves with was the solution of the matter to get out this mess. In order to avoid these disruptions and the shutdowns we are experiencing, although we didn't have any contract with the vendor as at the time we took over, we indicated to the vendor that it is ready to sign service maintenance agreement covering the 450 health facilities. Don't forget that the software is and was not for the state. That is why it's called LIMS, Light Wave Health Information Management System. It's not for the state. In the agreement, we indicated that before we sign such an agreement with you, you have to hand over the data to the state, and you must give us administrative access to the service. The vendor insisted that those clauses must be expunged from the agreement. We cannot expunge those clauses from the agreement because it is a state that's of these data. So the vendor decided to switch the system of as and when he desires, and as and when he demands what. And this has some time now, more than 2 months. And for the past 2 weeks or so, completely down. If this is not blackmailing, I don't know what it is. At that point, what was important was to find a solution to get out of this mess. And so, ladies and gentlemen, news is that we have the solution. And the solution, in finding the solutions, we have taken cognizance of the issues that have gotten us here. The issues we were resolving, one were the issues. The issues, one, was that the software didn't belong to the state. And so when we are going for any, the must be for the state. And so today we have games. And the games is Ghana Health Information Management System, and not for any individual. The next solution was the fact that there was nothing like any exchange. And so we have established an exchange where even if you invite any vendor in, the vendor will then plug in and will not have, any vendor will not have a direct integration to our billing system or to any other sector. You necessarily will have to go through the exchange. Again, we realized that we were going through these difficulties because the system was monopolized. It was only one person we were dealing with. The solution again is that out of the 90 health facilities, only 450 have been connected, and therefore we have an outstanding of about 500 health facilities. Going forward, we'll open companies and players in the sector to bid, provided the implement, so that we'll open it up and they will all go through the exchange they were, so that we will not end at where we are at the moment. The plan going forward is that in the next 1 week, we are going to begin with the teaching hospitals, the regional hospitals, and the highly populated district hospitals, to roll them over onto the system, the game. In the second week, we'll be looking at the rest of the district hospitals. And then in the third week, we'll be looking at the polyclinics, the health centers, and the CHIPs. In the fourth week, we'll do the mop-ups. So I am confidently announcing to the good people of this country that we have a 4 weeks plan that will get us out of this mess. And so at this point, I will allow Dr. Anita Opon to do her presentation, and that will be followed by Conrad Jokoto to also present to you the games system, how it's going to function and tell you some of the superior functions of the games system. So I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. You did a very good job for me. Thank you. Okay, so why are we here? We are here because recent service disruptions linked to light wave suspension of NHIA integration. And there is public interest. What is the interest? Access to care, continuity of claims, and who holds Ghana's health data, as the minister said. And our goal is simple: to share, verify what's working, what's and what's next. I think the minister gave us a very extensive background. So this is how the audit was done. There was a work stream. They reviewed contracts. They looked at delivery notes, acceptance forms. They did a physical verification of information in all the 16 regions in the country. They did functional tests. We had user evidence and some quality assurance, where we really are. At the start of the audit, the ministry's inherited report said Light Limbs had completed 481 facilities. But based on the verification, we realized that it was actually 450 that was operational. 30 had not been operational. It was not on the ground. And this was concentrated in the eastern region, and most of them were in the health centers. So out of the 450 verified, we realized that 443 were completed year 2. So they had 6 milestones, and they completed whatever was assigned to them during year 1 and year 2. So when the contracts was renewed, the 2-year renewal they had, they were expected to deliver 157 more facilities. And out of the 157, which the government of Ghana paid for, they only delivered on 7. So these are the payment versus delivery. So you see that year 1 and year 2, all the 6 milestones supposed to deliver 443 at a total cost of $66.3 million, which they did, and it was accepted. So when it was renewed again, that was year 3, they were expected to deliver 157, deploy 157 facilities. They only delivered 7. They deployed 7, and it was accepted. Bear in mind, they were paid for the 157 for year 1 and the milestone, year 3 and milestone 1. But only 7 sites were accepted by end of year 31st December 2024. The issue with year 3 and milestone 1, why this matters. So you see that we are exposed to them at an approximate sum of 10.1 million of prepaid but undelivered scope of work. So the risk here is, with the contract expiring, government enforceability weakens unless there is a very valid extension or variation. So when you look at the table here, you see the tranche. We paid 10.6 to them to deliver 157 facilities or deploy 157 facilities, but they only deployed 7, 4.4% of the work they needed to do. So you see, approximate value of delivered sites is 472,000 plus, and we had already paid 10 million to them. So if we do the hardware analysis, if we take the desktops, they charged $600 per desktop, per their own specifications. And for the total contract period, they were expected to deliver 25,799. For year 1 and year 2, they were supposed to deliver 13,125 laptops. So you see that according to their own documentation, as per way bills with the Ministry of, we realized that what they had was 5,054. But the team decided to go ahead and do physical verification and even counted laptops that had gone bad, the ones that were not good. And what we got was 7,060. The variation here is 6,065 that were not supplied. For. Then if we take the mast and grounding, they were expected to do 9,005 to total contract period. For year 1, year 2, we're expecting them to do 445. That's 445. According to the ministry's documentation, they only did 49. But when we did the physical verification, we realized they did 73, which were very poorly executed. And so if things are not done well, you can imagine the consequences this will have on our equipment. So you see the variation there is 372 undelivered work. And so they didn't do 83.6% of the work. Meanwhile, they had taken the full amount. So total exposure from our audit findings for year 1 and year 2 scope, based on the hardware, you see our exposure is 18.9 million, which has already been paid but not evidenced in the field. These things were not deployed properly. Then you see for year 3 milestone 1, supplier was paid 10.6 for a new milestone. He only delivered 4.6% of what he was supposed to do. And so there is also an exposure of 10.1. In total, there is 29 million exposure to be reconciled with the vendor. So these are some of the audit recommendations. Audit recommendation 1, the audit identified significant gaps in delivering the hardware operations across reported sites. So the recommendation is that these gaps to the relevant state authorities have been forwarded to the relevant state authorities for verification and advice. So they will do what they need to do. And I think the minister mentioned this when he was addressing us. Second recommendation was immediate custody of systems and data, which the minister also addressed extensively. And so following the second recommendations, these were some of the actions we took, which the minister also talked about. Recommendation 3 is interim license to protect service continuity, which he again addressed extensively. So out of the minister's or the ministry's good faith efforts, these are some of the actions they have taken, which he actually spoke about here. And you realize on the vendor's attitude, he has breached the Protection Act. So we expect the relevant authorities to also do what they need to do. Our recommendation 4 is to establish a national health information exchange as a single integration layer, which the minister talked about, and my colleague Conrad will take us through the exchange. So this is also about the exchange. So recommendation 5 is what he talked about, going to open up tender so that Ghanaians who are qualified and who are able to do the work will be able to take it up and do it well. So to conclude, we want you to know, we want to reiterate the fact that the contract actually expired on 31st December 2024. At the time of the expiration of the contract, the vendor had underperformed on the contract, delivering on only 450 health facilities of the 950, despite being granted an extra 2-year extension to complete the project, totaling 5 years in total. The ministry extended a good faith SLA for the maintenance of the 450 sites, which the minister actually talked about, while the issues from the audit were being handled. The vendor refused this offer. The Ministry of Health, as per recommendations and policy, has established the National Health Information Exchange, which now ensures that no single vendor or private entity has control over the sovereignty of our health data and systems. So thank you very much. Conrad will take us through the...
At this point, through the solution to roll out. So, Conrad.
Mr. Minister, thank you so much for that. Okay. So my name is Koto. I'm a member of the Games team, the solution to the problem that we are currently facing. So the Games is an end-to-end application that
Accra100.5. You may know said what no. Yeah, the Citizen Show. Na me kan say no na me da wase say wagibre na woni en etna wodwumedie so Facebook ni so no Accra100.5 obetime de comment no e de aba wo ho no say de onim no ene as usual me tenemu e de ama the commander himself Nana Kwabena Bobie Ansah me din Dr. Desmond Kofi Anana me tena punechi na fe me di dwuma no aha nti ye be kosesi a enche ye be di nkoma ahodo bebre but ye nhwa de bi Right, Ebusianti said onim no dwumedie no ekoso no aro betimi to the comment e de aba. Yen WhatsApp line no e 0506672665. 0506672665. O de ba ye be gibre na yakan e de amount. Embrebe mu so e be bie phone lines no so wachire wadwene e wo ho nti hye ne so fa mayen Facebook no e twegu me hu za mo de messages no bebre na e de aba wo ho. Ye be dem ase said bia no abrini na no free dwada kosi bebre da no mo kaye ho na fe ye di dwumadie yi e de brew Ghana mine enkoso nti ena de bia no obade nimdie kakra wo de adom yen no yen so ye ba betra ha na akere ya adwene enye se sabi ye nimnyansa dodo se esene mumu bia that it just say ye nya opportunity eno nti no da ne da nyina no ye ni sopa se mo gibre na mo ne yen e kan wo adwuma but yen hwade bi anopai ena ekruakata mame nhwe akire nhwe say custodian aha ena de bae aha custodian newspaper no ena de bae na hwe sometimes you see the ofuduapa na piano aha yen hye ne so you see the ofuduapa no ena ye piano ena se abraba ye boys obi di dwuma bi ana ekuo bi di dwuma bi na se eso ani na esaso abosobode a there's nothing wrong say ubetu di na fe wachire ani so a ana so se wachire wadwene wo ho se de omaye no ya depa enu nti eya Victory Bible Church me bo mabaso ena wie hye so Victory Bible Church na mekanisa obi busa se na Victory Bible Church na dia no maye empembebre it's been so many years here mo amunam sa kwantimpon we so ameba betu dini wo sa stretch of the capital dia sa sama mi kan o nim se dia mi kan no kura trudu ufri eye banyard banyard ufri odoko befa twi ma mi hono be dude banya traffic light na se ho a asa odi wani mu kira blekuma kwan no traffic light ni ho kakra kwan na se kura kwan no ase kura chese uduru ho na wan to bo a wan he kura kobu o shock na wo ho bu kura kwa kutu ufiri kwahye man so ba do traffic light na wo bobenku nifa akọ towards Ablekuma no saa eho kakra no utimu se ekwan na sekra na wei ena asafo a ye friend of Victory Bible Church ene odene ntima akwakobo da Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly emfo de ho na wonumu siesie kwan no abusua me feel say e wo say saa dwumadie we no is worth acknowledging ya dia e wo say ye ka na amanfo nyina tie e wo say ye boy akire na amanfo nyina hunu dia ye religious groupings and religious asode no bebre ya na ma omutu in also ensuring say omo hu be national development ni mu enti enei so many enu nti na me betra apunachi a mini producer kache producer say saa de we e wo se ye ka e fo se ye di hu nkomo se de be ya nipa dodo no a etie ye no because platform we a very big platform ti nipa etitire nintini a etie no ehunu dwumadi a asafo no nso ye in national development apart from say we all know say some of this religious can say society no ye niema bebre de boa ebinimo abie schools ebinimo in the area of education said the America no abie schools ahodo bebre a wono so de boa said the be ya yebetete enkofo se ewo niema ahodo bebre so eno so nyina aboa. But this one is also worth acknowledging. Say, asafo no etu ni ho ede si ho na oni aban ana musini a ewo the Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly honom na omo say omo hwe no fixes that part of the road no. Said ye be ya commuters one mo a used to sa kwan no so nyina no ebenya ahotoso say sebi onam kwan so ani bibia be koyie ni de kekeka ho anti Victory Bible Church peni odasafo na no ye nyina ya de nyina peni aye friend no Taki Yaboy osofo Reverend Taki Yaboy papa nyame hirawo se wadwene sa adwene pawe we ka say ache de ache ende no kre but se asafo no at this point in time no a President Mahama call say ubia mbra on board di obetime ye bia no be ye febo man no na asafo no are responding in this manner no de me Dr. Desmond Kofi Anade me ni sopa papa because se ye kan ye kan sa stretch no se sebi ebe cost even 1 cedi kra no asafo no has a lot of challenges here. I know some of the religious churches no religious bodies no eboa wo masafo no kwa ho do baby so enyo mu nyina de we know some people are doing some other things here no nyame na meka munim dada ena ebinim nso afato wo ho so se wono mo hwe na the national development no another development agenda a ye nyina no ye push no wono so be contribute to quota and so this is worth mentioning. Said ye be ya nyina be hu enti asafo the Victory Bible Church led by Reverend and now say Apostle Taki Yaboy ye boma basu ye papa ne na sorry penny for me sure say ni nyina no mu nyina na dwendwene ho e no mu nyina si benkro ko adwenkro mu say e wo say wono mu eye sa adwumadi na wono mu de boa and so ye boma basu bebre ye ka say ebim bebre nsambra bebre no nsambra esan say it's important to say ye be ensure say ye nyina no together no ye betimi na yatoto yaboa the national development agenda say de be ya ye nyina no ye benya hotoso ewo ho and so we are encouraging ye ka we to encourage other religious bodies who important bi na say bibi wo ho a asafo no betimi afa to ho so na waye na de aboa society, you have to do it. You have to ensure say what contributing enormously to the development of this country. Because at the end of the day, no, timemufo eba wa sore no wo mo anso ena sebi wono mo ba ko sa line e wo important bebre ya enti wo ya you are not even serving just your people alone or congregant ana wasafo fo nko you are serving a lot of people me kan sa kwantempo en nkofo bebre ne fa so enti se ho behia se yebe bo asafo na baso e wo honom na afei ya hwe se bibia na wono mo ye bia no so yebeko ewo ho nti ebusia eno na ye de hye ye nkomodie no ase ene awie ya ye nyina no yagibra yesi nkunya wo citizen show ne so ewo Accra100.5 me de no to ncha ebusia ye nhwa de bi ye the Concerned Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana National Concerned Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana nei ye ken yenyane ntie se wono mo to anamon bi eno so ye wet mentioning ensan se galam se nkomo no enei me ye very very excited se obi bia afa sa kona to ne ho so because a national call enti obi bia no afa to ne ho so enei me ka say National Concerned Small Scale Miners Association titreni ewo ahomane so ye ne twetwe nkomo na anamon bi o matu no mani sopa nti ye ne ye nyina ya de nyina ending komo ewo ho na ye nhwe dia omo etimi aye de aboa ewo enkomo no mu ye wentimi engine line so ye bebo akiri na yahwe matese pumpum bi pie mu ho ye Michael Kojo Prepra one of president edema the National Concerned Small Scale Miners Association ono ena ye hwe nim se ye ne no ebedi nkomo na nay operations a omkoye no omkoye wo atwuma enwabiaja district ni mu bronu bia ye fe no impasatia abompe ene ni importem prezo mema wa ha ena wie eba citizen show iso
meni amideso
na bari bibia bokode
ya dum ne homo bro
ye de radiase yi videos bi na ye nsaka ewo dwumadi so na yesi efi dwumadi led by your good self anamo bi amatu all in our quest say ye nyina no ye de ye ho gi galamsey fight ni mu wadama bie so kakra kire na afei bibi wo ha ebebusa wa yetimi abusa
I think I'm a mintia with you for
mo je so
ye nyina yo ha ena yes you know that yeah kasa they don't distinguish between nipa or putan alliances and nipa or sense you know kasa yo mpo mo de o ma yo ba bin say yes you know ena on betu for me bude e wo tanko foi omunye small scale mining and also omunye legal small scale miners omunyina galamsey for omude any for their greed and their selfish interest no insu no mude chamfan akwakosi eso ena omudani insu nemu na omu sense you know cause as an association ena ya power tax force you should be self policing policies say baby be members in the ejuma sanko for omo especially on the bigger streams and bigger rivers the task force no koho na yakwa pam sanko for mu nyina wa most times in the kwa yakwa ainfofo no nyom kokasa at the end of the day these people cannot do what they are doing without the involvement of the chiefs yakwa na yemo grace period so mu nkofo ni nyom nyoma the grace period no do na nyoma nda so si what it means o my imagine say issue ni Ansah no na o mese no ene na amene ya start operation ya call baby tisa bompe mpaseti ya biposo ena ya otimi akwa say transfer machines are since you know so say no me no ka say baby a kofo ye djuma excavator bi eni ho na be ka say oh e bia small scale miners one mo dey excavator esi wa omo sense you know the clear evidence say omo sense you know any small scale miners na omo so djuma die ni say omo insio no so no e na omo dey omo tutu machine ana so omo chan fine kosi o na omo essence nti who reduce na operations a yakwakoye no and they no ka say it's ongoing na etumi akwa speedboat a be etumi ko nsuo no to baby bi omo sha ya start ya clear up.
I see. Na me hwɛ mfoni na me wonder kyɛ the level of distraction mfoni a mode abai kyerɛ no ɛyɛ ayɛmhyehyeɛ papapapapapa kyerɛ sɛ ano ɔden na mo ayi nkɔfo a modi saa adwuma wei no mo nsa kan biara anaa moduru hɔ na kyerɛ sɛ ɔmo de ɔmo ho aka nwura
the moment ɔmo hu sɛ wo ba no mo to nsuo ni wa no bogya ɔmo anuama no wɔ hɔ nti me no ka sɛ deɛ nsa nka bi deɛ but ɔmo no mo di adwuma no ɛna ya make sure say ba kokra nyere anka
okay
monitoring na ye be every day me no ka say speedboat no ya sa order another one ye dey every make sure say stream no ye free through to say ofin from Ashanti region air ko nyina no every day be patrol na make sure say sanko fu e be yo mo free order ni me say nsuo no any better na o man pay ni Land and Natural Resource Ministry omo ni so adu no yinso ni liberty na sebe Ghana for so ehu ya plan be awaye ni nyina etumi aba.
I see. Na mama bi so anti-side operation wa moye no collaborative effort with 9 Musa na say we no monko a kwantin kro.
I think we are working hand in hand with the Land and Natural Resource Ministry. You know, because they do baby now we are overwhelmed.
Okay.
Very 9 months for more information on what is happening. But as we speak now, this operation is being funded by the association. Here you know, the self-policing policy, no, it must work. Then yeah, crown able to me making sure say GPRT for Ghana Bar Association for all Manka some task force. To me, every pretty members in check, you know. At least it to me actually not distraction, you know. It to me across. But we are working hand in hand with government and the leadership of NIMOS.
I see. And but one question na me pese mi hu. You mentioned say mo call site ho no. Kamia say it is not any excavators kra no mudi di sa in omudi yes distraction no. Yes omu chan fine ni de keke ka ho na. And I get the point you want to make. And I say upese wo sign muti as National Concerned Small Scale Miners Association for say you can so boni entimi fam bom nko a sa na pese o put across ana.
Oh, not necessarily. Partly I agree with you. I think that in the video here we mo say nsu na nkasa.
Exactly.
And we be na kasa mo say and a small scale miners for legal and safe for essential. But there is a clear example. It says omo mu say nsu no say be mrabi no ya e mo mu kwan so mo ye de mo ye. And the Minerals Act does not warrant anybody to work on the water bodies.
Exactly.
People are more criminals. Say be omo di bone edishe omo mukuta ankata. So there is a distinction now. Uncle who say okay, this is what is happening. I now me no ka say EPA boss crash say sa chanfan ye omo edidi omo djumai. Ye be stop it importation of this chanfan, which we applaud the EPA CEO worker because machines we are now people who are using it to mine on our water bodies. At least when we get the water clearer now, going forward, I think a bank can get it right on how to manage almost as almost sense. There's a clear example. Say almost sense, they are not small scale miners, and these are people or more essential for their greed and their personal gains. Into big small scale miners for the essential and yannick. Thank you for mine, say, Usha video now, or more a Jania, Bimuya say, or machines. These are people who are mining in the water bodies almost essential.
I can see pa because anodding ye papa anyway no akoba ni say na mo sesa omoniama nyina de kono ekira sem te say mo bebo ebia ministry na mande no mo de nkofo akọ more or less a station wo to protect na mo effort no anko giant na say mo ye then what is the next move for you?
Oh, the truth of the matter is, we are going to sustain it. Sabi, it means upwards to Accra100. It means this document for a longer time. You know, say members and meeting, and you contributing to even get the speedboat. You know, it wasn't easy. It goes into hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, we are acquiring a bigger one. Kaka, even members need to be to me. Now, almost me, I this to be frank, it's not an easy work, but government is minimum. You know, to me, you know, I'm buying, and one also fighting, you made me. You know, a bit to me, abwa, near Boa, blue water guard for. Now, yet to be abwa.
Essentially, now the person me cry me who say now more free honor, more chitty saying. What didn't go for
okay. Enough, we have our members in these various communities.
Oh, okay. Tip off no. Great.
Periodically, no. So most and we more ebben and move so they are the people who give us the
information. Okay.
Anytime we are never call.
I see. And President Mamenda was saying Ninchirimu Awodiama meneme a tea for him here for Facebook for now.
That's the point I'm share with you for more.
All right, yes, yeah, that's the part. Auntie, was a year president at the National Concern Small Scale Miners Association, and yeneno atwetwen komo ewo ho no. Aha, nti odinchiri mu e dia ba ne frɛ no Michael Kujo Pepra, and yeneno atwetwen komo nti ebusia bra Facebook ne so behwe wani so ade. Behwe the level of distraction. Just say minim say krowe no. I don't get it. Enti obi ntimi just say omo up to now. Womo ya madwene say galamsey no wonu mu njai no. I don't know what is in their head. Minim adwene asebe ye dani petirimu a. Up to now. Anamo abani tuo. Sika ye say no in this fight against galamsey. Still Kwabena si njai. I don't get it. Kwamkwachi. I don't mean tears you.
1 2 3 4. Echo. But yanka say nyamiadom. Who's the Saturday we can say Ghana Legal Council for omoye no mo release we no. Nyamiadom. Uni oko mokola. Yes, eti. Ochro ni yi. On niti wusa. Congratulations. Yes, here.
Oh, viral video bi na buy no amame no kasa wo say otriko. Doc niti wusa. Wow. Nyamiadom. And I think said this time
oh yeah
Debbie o kasa niti wusa na say obi a wontimi anya opportunity.
Oh, na say nipa 4,000 natural and I'm first 1,500 was 1,000 was say.
Sebi no nya adwene so obeka say ni tiri sa ese obi a wenya no me kwa ho na me free ba obi a wenya na je ni tie wu enye ne sa
na se na utie wu ana me ko tro ye I don't know process ni as a threat process ni sen ana yere 6 hours ebi call more papers more papers some for tro obi die one paper ba
bo fi Kwabena asem dia
David no send them the country we aba doctor ba solid
we brutal
per submission
we brutal
yeah per submission
me so me kasa we brutal na say we brutal
we future
so
yeah
future dia be sa
the future bright it yada nyamias be no ye be kan Saturday morning
no Saturday nkomo
galamsey issue na mpese me kebi
kakakra e serious o me ntiase se
hwe
anamo aban to effort ya individuals e dey bani adwinkyira ye dey ba ye sika say dey be ye yankasa tibemfo ye hu beto ye
siranim say last week or last 2 weeks because man crown so
yes
e was Ashanti region
yes
na sina
dia okoye woni ema bi no
en honye kra galamsey pay me but obi rezi asem bi say ere bia galamsey kosu bia e say DC
police commander ɔhene ɔwɔ hɔ
Eyomule.
yɛ kila wɔn nyinaa me ubi samia me ne saa for the adwene
Sao.
because this year was this year on a penny ɔwɔ hɔ no
In charge of security ni
yes
ade nyina.
ɔhene ɔwɔ hɔ me ka ne sɛn MP ɔwɔ hɔ it's either say one or the other ɔmo benefit from the galamsey sika no mu bi another you can't tell me say
Is it always the case, sir?
maybe it is say we your baby wo ha ɔhene no you can't dare untimi enko esa untimi wama warning
License in the free.
who said na say no be an equal lances
Sir.
yes and dock your way no be an equal lances so just say so me de galamsey ne de abane ya de o hwe ejuma 9-4 eye ene ejuma Michael Kojo Pepra nom eye anamo mutu mo hwe se bibia galamsey ekoso bia no do go there and fight so just say and yem Michael Kojo Pepra ba so pa o ya de and the way on the boys yes association now when omo ye e de boa pan no
sir omo to speed boat
to speed boat
ka say ba ko so nam kwan so eba
so just say so if you have such a person such an organization omo boa e magalamsey esu tu o man we mu
a edin say ya enti ye be bia be ka say small scale for na ye small scale for na ye de e say de hu jim
yes
na fe ye clear ye hu enti enu no mo ye no
enti so me no adwuma Michael Kojo Pepra no ma ye no me bo ma ba so omo ye e de support 9-4 no e say obia so no obia boa na o hwe na de no because oti ha o fu say aden emma oboboa no enche obete si weja nsuo no ya shut it down imagine you see ya shut weja nsuo down doc o na ote honom nsuo kra nyi bi dware so ti ase intimi no de yembo mu na abaso na ye hye nyina nkran se galamsey no ye betumi to ase ye betumi to galamsey na se pa but say ukonya ebirum o mehye hyase no mo ye we a eno na be medwuma na den so Michael Kojo Pepra yemo na abaso se we have a doc aba ti ye den record health minister from there na
exactly nti abusia ye be ko na ye di nkomo kakra nti ye ba
Adam, I'll go guzo. I'm going to my phone go guzo. Na kido kwa we never say we feel guzo. Young Kwabena, young. No way bende. Fasi baby.
Facebook no won say mo messages ndodo na aba ye beje brene akan ebi e de amamo e wo ho ebi mo bo asafo ye Victory Bible Church na baso ye papa say asafo obian take you out of say adwumedie no a Victory for aye ne ho say de diga kan ye ni ye ni obema Dr. Samuel aye e be twetwe nkomo and the next few minutes na fe yahwe and the minister, the health minister, echo enya ne 10 ewo the government accountability series no no de nsem mo bro so de bebre eni abema no wa ha on de abamu ni and otensem na siye to beto ne bo na wa biebie mu kama na fe asembi se bi wo ho a yenso ye pese ye de bono a na fe ye de abono se de be ya won so no ubenya ntiase won nsem a etwa guru mu doc mema wa ha wie
senior major so
na bibia boko de
obo ade edenkwa acheye
edewade ase
yentimi complaining
first of all mami busa before yen call substantive in mo sa accountability series no a aban na introduce no ni vision pa ties ade ni chi yeden
of course government accountability series initiative of the Honorable Minister for Government Communication, the Honorable Felix Kwabena.
Great.
Say Oshe Hawa, President Mama, a reforming government information dissemination. Our the Honorable Felix Kwabena to be a minister. No, I was say ye then she go akwemua. Even with the reduced numbers of President Mama at the government communication. First, no, before government communication, there was information ministry.
Yes.
Now information ministry directors managers in fact those who were in charge of government information dissemination they were about 126 yes now a bill Jubilee House
okay
and a bill information ministry Kaboma was about 126 no one now your directors managers obia on a Prado Land Cruiser uchi abai fuel mano the president Mama buy us no. We can't do the same thing and expect a different result. And you know the reforms abba. As our reforms no, ye be consolidate government the information dissemination machinery no with fewer numbers but more efficiency. And to critique government communication office. Leader the Honorable Felix Kwabena, Minister for Government Communication and Presidential Spokesperson.
Okay.
Or the government accountability series number. To bring governance closer to the people.
Okay.
Until regularly, ministers, Utimiba, ebi a this month, the following 2 months, 3 months, now I was saying the EBA. We expect to say within 3 months, no, Bibia Koso, I was a Ghana for a day. Already, we have embraced technology, social media, the new media. Social statement be we don't have to organize a press conference. You're not about Felix Kwabena so they to the social media handles. Net them. And so so many means to disseminate it at a higher cost. And this adding any day in New York. And the embraces are. And to be sure, government accountability ministers be brave, but it be so my because a dorsal. But be a benyanete. No, don't know about you and I will agree. Say, especially look at today's press conference by the health minister. Very concise, very insightful, and educative. Very decisive. Appointee. The government accountability series said it is for government to account for its stewardship. Aba Ghana for to Abama president, Mama name the ministers. So almost better than a D. Normal Ghana phones say this in a year. Because at the very least, a year Ghana for no votes now the year. You are not superior to them.
Exactly.
You are supposed to account to them to show the posture and the temperament of all ministers. It is in line with the president's demeanor and the president's temperament and the posture. It is our follow government accountability series. No be a kasawa humbrasim, be added the 1 year atuja. That is the essence of governance.
I see. Let's stay honek akra. The reason why I be pese menya we pese wo be in especially for more party supporters. Anyone more I feel say Kasana Dawson, especially in the area of the Attorney General. And say Uba accountability series wana said the econo. So be bufu akonta no be ati asese edwuma DC na aban ne ye. Enye zaneti. Enti say obi bana se obi di san komono na ekoba ne say all over the place o kasa do be ya eno na such
I think say a mixture of so many factors.
Okay.
No credit say Attorney General BNY in the last 10 months Dr. Ine a the deputy. Me in my view, or my so efficient as Look, and sometimes he suffers a lot of, misjudgments.
Yes.
Of course, it's because of public expectation. Now, no energy was through. Indeed, energy that's so through. And we understand and agree with Obia or what impression say. But this I was saying by but we agree with them. But the fundamental point also be at us and say, do not send the narrative will change. Look, criminal prosecution. I can tell you on authority say in 2017 by this time, the MPP for Muntimi file one case crowd court. And now Menoka say Attorney General. The Kwabena Edubuahe matter. The case of our 49 million Ghana citizens. So it's in court.
Yes.
Does the Attorney General control when judgment is given?
Not at all.
No. But Attorney General, we're filing a witness statement. We're filing or among the prosecution witnesses, or much I say the we have several situations where even Edubuahe lawyers, or sorry, every court. Say, near maybe because of many. Now we are lawyer now with every quarter. Any our clients on your day. What's the mechanism? But it is in court. Attorney General to me in court, judge and sign fine Senate say maybe it is the rule of law. We're presenting the case. Defense counsel by presenting the case. Not judge that show me no Ediasa. In 2017 by this time that case be any court. Number 2, the national service scandal. As you see, a can cover 2.2 billion according to the Auditor General's report.
Yes.
Is the case not in court?
It's in court.
Have you not heard arguments? Say some of them are even wailing. Say, "Sikano mede, umbe to your back." But Attorney General say, "Utu your back, cry, what perpetrated criminality?" That's how we call them. And until some of these cases, that's in court. Third case, Chama would to me.
Yes.
Now, some say court.
Yes.
What shall I say a court? And no, no court. In 2017, by this time, na BB say anyhow. And to say about say you just can't quite there. I can say you just can't be brave. But the people who did that, their feet must be held towards the fire of accountability. And the Attorney General, I'm a bonabaso, the deputy doctor, Srim say. And to Ghana ni bia o TMA. Ni GDNS the national. No musu cha open. Na many bedua. You will be shocked in this country.
And you always
one after the other.
And the platform now provided as a government government communication is for them to always also come and tell the Ghanaian people say
because Mami Chom Attorney General BR own delay with public perception will fail. Because in the last 8 years in Ghana for nyina ne wa uti hebe ya adwen say yesi kasem no entwa yi the way na ye bobo sia na ye jeje to aba still na bibia asa na nya the public themselves know say no katasehye pro in the last 8 years na edoso dodo. And to your Attorney General, you must continue to update the public.
Exactly.
You must carry them along. Because I just case be because now Attorney General may brief states no, may brief country no, not the court. You don't even know the details.
Yes.
Say you could lose a court, say you could win. Say what charges are being filed. No, the ordinary Ghanaian may not have any interest or may not even know.
Yes.
But the moment Attorney General by the press conference or the details no, on the side of the details no, it caught public attention and public interest in the matter. It is a case said the Yakokoto. Judge Bu attend Etian Crawford now. The people of Ghana already know what has happened.
Yeah.
What's the mechanism? So it is good. Maybe Emrebia ni we are say afan say Attorney General been to me today. And press conference and updating the state. Indeed, so court crack of file rate. Say one was able to trap pictures of rates. Yes. At the trouble thing. Say rates now on which channel. And no, and your public document. Say a public document. Exactly. It is a public document.
Yeah.
And to say obi the rates via public document now obi so the briefings agasa on the matter when he is in court. Ebeba abontia be cheche much Ghana for and the reason why are they court. What is the problem with it?
I see.
What you say?
Exactly.
MPP appointees no. Omuna na court.
Debbie.
Intiara no omuna any court. Yes, so trimu fire. Intia manye day. I don't want to mention names. MPP appointed. Bebre omutifie. You invite them to court because omunye. Why would you say? President Kufuor na kai o say ah. Now point is they should ready for accountability. And if we are facing accountability, what is the problem with it? The same people are almost say they are ready for accountability. They don't go to court say ko is someone or say tata one tata. So there's nothing wrong with it. So I don't think so.
I see. And where they are the na me say dodo na nyom ho ntia the reasoning behind government accountability series, you know. Until no say emre so na say to nsafre a particular minister or a ministry say onomebu akonta say this is the brain behind it here.
Now say Attorney General and say obey a press conference. Say in the one to make case no matter be who say obey some this career.
So Ghana for so tie.
But until Attorney General say be ko catch judge and say obey. That is the whole idea about it.
Exactly.
That's what court akodia to say no sika no. O dan na nkwata. And now you way and now you way. That's the essence of the whole operation. Recover all loot. That's it. Boni bi anim.
Okay. All right. Okay, yanko yansem ne mu enei Minister for Health Unyane 10 Fire FM the key highlights of Nkomo Obedi Echre Ghana for
Medasi ene mebo the health minister Kwabena minta akando mebo na baso.
Great.
Na we prove beyond doubt to say we a strong leader. He's a leader Ghana needs. Or a progressive leader serving under a progressive president and a visionary president. They born a battle for this initiative. What show the commitment to protecting the public purse. What show the commitment to value for money. What show the commitment to data protection and protection of the public populace. That is what he demonstrated today. Now, me born about so then pay for the deputy minister and the chief director. Ghana, so many years ago, they launched e-health project, electronic health.
Yeah,
it's just a paper system. Now, you use so quite no control folder. 10 hospital. Ne gumbe 30,000, 40,000. Yes, you show folder cry. I just say the 3 hours necessary. Let us change from it. Near be electronic. Okra card. Maybe one. And a company be a friend of light wave. Almost your macro system be a friend of light wave health management. And as a light wave health information management systems. LIMS. What do you mean? Light wave health information management system. The TN say ufo da na en kan na ye paper no ya ye electronic ukona ukra card ye board in shema na do details na ye aba it is uko OPD uko theater ye ko ye operation ye bibia uhwinti mpo na akofa hospital near the plaster to chirema wa ya trogu sa system no so it is wo radio hospital na uko ye tro na ofi ho na wa so akokolebu the same number ye ba epie and na buying this company sign contracts in 2019 so on develop a system on best set the same system you are making on best set up in 950 hospitals in this country 950 at a cost of $100 million or $100 million. You may have your disagreement with Sikano, but that was the contract.
Okay.
In some contract, after 2 years of implementation, they do 2022 now also multi years 915 no meant me anya. And a buying at the time next extending from 2022 to 31st December 2024. By which time it was just 950 sites in no my day.
Oh my.
In Shishabu, say 950 no meant me anya half. Only 450. And it's our calculation now. 450 out of 950, only 47%. Into me besawu. So contract $100 million. Na uye mu 47%. I was just saying it here. Only $47 million. Because 100.
Yeah.
And now why you move 47%? They say it's only 47%. yet almost $77 million, which is 77%, for work that has not been done. What you say? Ordinarily, they are supposed to do all the 950 so that they get their $100 million. Almost only 450. Now, the ATN say, "Enya no kwa contract ni mo no. E also mo de niema pi, mo provide niema pi. Et say laptops. Et say desktops. Et say must to make sure that the system runs effectively and efficiently."
Exactly.
Me no ka say desktop now also mo provided 25,799.
Desktop.
Yes, across the 950 hospitals, we provided only 7,060. Out of 25,000, we provided only 7 after the whole program. In fact, for the first 2 years, Nelson provided 13,000. Out of that 13,000, we provided only 7,000. Nelson, I cast 6,000.
Yes.
Now, some provided mast system 445. Out of that 445, on provided only 73. But who's the idea? And you break it down into details now. Year 1 and year 2, before their contract was extended, they were supposed to do 443 sites in a normal year. About $66 million. By year 3, and also now milestone 1. Milestone 2, milestone 3. Year 3, milestone 1. Now also we provided 157 sites in 157 hospitals. We provided 7 per 7. Out of 157, we provided 7. Emu 150 omanye. 7 out of 157, only 4.4%.
Yeah.
Sika na was here tuomo for only 7, $472,000. O de ba NAC kemu a about 40 something billion. Utie me. Only 7 sites no. Of course you can have your disagreement with Sikana amount in the but that was the contract. Only 7 sites no. The cost and was here tuomo according to number no my no. 472,000. Yet near tuomo got $10.6 million. For a Juma or Mentimianye. That raises serious questions. Say a Juma ni pananyeno. A year then I'll quite day. And by 31st December 2024, contract new. They couldn't execute even half of the contract. By a Tiomoka Amanabro, so about $30 million. Ghana ni awotie me mama church mu $1 million. $1 million me no ka say about 120 billion OCs. 1 billion kwa 120 multiplied by 30. Ye dia mo man do o man pa mo men o man chire o man yehwe ye dia mo $30 million extra. Abai for fraba. Ya analysis yes contract na. Now within the contract, yes, documents are obeyed from Ghana data BBA hand it over to Ghana for government. Is that not it? At least that's the least we can ask for. Is it too much to ask for this? No. In Kofo Munu Ayakum.
Ade.
Among for the Tanema.
Dainty.
Me know to Ghana is a health management system, a LIMS. They are sourcing the data from India. It's your data, no. So be malaria, so be tipaye, so be a heart disease, so be kidney disease, so be liver disease. I try also a private, no. Of course, according to the contract, I'm say private, but a sourcing the data from India. And the open information, no. I also unya onobia. Ni fapim no. India. Enti aban foforo aba yese de why nyina no contract no cry dey ewu in despite say etua o ka bana bro so no fa ya de maye nkofo mu na yakum o ha no madum system no oh ha no maso usu kakra no maso ubufu kakra no medu no enti all across the country limb system hospital bebre all time so my practice that as a doctor me call it limb system I used to be that when I was at the Range Hospital I was using it what the make and my colleagues me down mama na omo frɛ me say yenye ho bibi because amo ma say use our paper record system ni bio which is tedious and has a lot of errors on records and what have you. What's the mechanism? A very serious
serious matter.
Yes. Anti-fire system maya swa. Yet you are camera brosono. Famaya also famaya. Oh I know a duno. Oh I know a so. What's the mechanism? They are not a minister no. The ofrio, the auto, ni raso anyade. Wanya anton na die bi. Intiene, they are about to roll up a new system. Now, that new system, no, data now will be the sole property of Ghana. Data no will be kept in Ghana. Data no will not be kept in another country. New one no my no, and never representation interface no because nurses and doctors have to undergo training. There used to be that. It has more enhanced features.
Sine limbs for
yes, if you be pathograph, oba be wa ye mama mo ma woda no omunim. Oba be wa o ye pathograph. So pathograph no ye dey monitor the progress of the delivery or the labor. So o chair na on check. So o chair dey na manage check. E o se ekoye CS and I ni kwa se ekoye CS. So ye nye CS a ye nye bibi a e friend be assisted delivery. Ye supporting in a way. No until you find the old system, no, you can't do it on the system. But our new system here, friend, no, Ghana Health Information Management System, no, Ghana dear property, Ghanaian property, no, it was our features. There are a lot of other features, and they used by nurses and doctors, no. Yeah, friend, user friendly interface, no, yeah, any integration, yeah, good, yeah, better. As compared to our previous system. No? That is what the health minister, the Honorable Kwabena Minta can do. And they will demonstrate this and all. This is the way forward now. Now, me born abaso on this regard. For remaining strong, for remaining steadfast, for remaining progressive as far as this matter is concerned. Me born abaso pa.
I see. But I mean, biso, anti yen data. Akwa ka obi man so say akodi obi nsem wan nei ono ni bufu a even wo say wo ye tua wo sika bi a ye kra ye bonwe so no.
That was it. I was say at the end of normal milestone. I was say at the end of milestone bia no data o magigi o ma ye ho adwuma no. We should give it back to Ghana. That didn't happen. And then me know ka say. And our platform we so na make there are many certain institutions on where contract with tesa. And then Kofone Johnny a data no who sikeni na Ghana any. Mean to be more on this platform. But I know.
Wow.
What's the name can I say? Because of contracts, a previous government they signed, yeah. I don't know what happened. I don't know what was the interest, what was the motive behind it. And TNA health minister say because of old entries now on the previous application and software, no, yeah, the health insurance card at the end of the year. So sad data because of the health insurance, no, we can retrieve all of them.
Oh, good.
Until no data will be lost.
Okay.
I say as data will be kept by Ghana. It will be the bona fide property of Ghana, and will be Ghanaian owned data. Absolute control.
A new platform now.
New platform now. Health minister there, but and they demonstrated it.
Okay.
Press conference. Mejidi say idea beboa. Ama Ghana ye niema timi etwa ye na ya save cost. All the president mama buy no. The interest of the state supersedes every other interest. Ya buy for be there, and the interest of some individuals will be higher than the interest of the state. I want to commend the health minister and government for this. The Ghana for Mutieme and the health minister, they are chopper can see by. Because the assembly see and major hospital so back on lips in Yajumana cute a lot of Ghanaians are go through this harrowing experience. and then I try pack a say near the moment. Say sometimes leadership and the governance, you know, a progressives are now at the some of these problems. I might be or corrupt because you man
Yes.
at the expense of the state. What's the name?
Yes.
So for me, I'm extremely happy about this, and I know say a health minister is committed and ready to make sure that the right things are done.
Yeah,
and
Doc.
I'm extremely happy about it.
Ghana for ni be so nkomodi we any anamo aban no etu through the minister ni na pamfo a onum be di nkomo no. But I am sure say Ghanaians will be extremely also happy to hear that sa excesses here course so sa dwumedie wu nyina no anamontuo bi akoso e na
of course, and the minister can say on the Attorney General and National Security Omeshia.
Okay.
So the Attorney General and the National Security, they will pick it from there. They know exactly how these things are done, how we can recoup our money, what other investigations that can be done. It has been left at the doorsteps of the Attorney General and National Security, who are more experienced to do some of these things. There are a lot of investigations. Attorney General this is not different from it. So they have taken the matter up, and the necessary steps will be taken. As for that assurance, the people have it.
I see. We say for Dr. Samuel Aye ena yeneno twitwen konwo presidential aid kwam kwachina no actually presidential aid for government communication sanity. Okay. Auntie. Doc na me no gusu wo studio mu aye twitwen komo na fe ya hwede ya echo in the is there any other thing be and he talked about blackmail be near the and one
no American one say blackmail no say oh yes oh friend no na kasa munhia yenye meeting
no buafu
na no buafu no a friend boy say no madum e bi atamale de ade chia no madum kuma se de ade chia no madum so nya ne de na doctors bra na de
and omo yes awie nso a na wono mo ato womo kofo egu system no on
can sama enye no kre
just to
because information me dey ama we yes say 950 sites why 450 that's a 47%.
Yes.
There's a calculate more only 47 million.
Exactly.
The amount of 77 million. There's a 30 million above account for Juma 1 year. And you have the guts to shut down systems in this country. I don't think that we must encourage Nehemiah. I'm a boy health minister so in this
Limbs for no Ghanaian company there.
I don't know. Me angasa me on say health ministry.
Exactly.
I don't have the full details of Nepal mo yes so me Ghana for so me America for but omo so say omo cloud no from India.
I see. Na their ministry no their bus say no games no.
No completely owned by Ghana. We have access to data and who data ni who baby.
I see.
Yes.
I see. Nti ebusia nti nkomo no na yegusu a
training on a system.
Yes.
Also with a computer no how I'll be pressing me share adwuma say already hospital. I went through that orientation. Even for the old system no.
Okay.
They be train you be but because used to be done into no.
Okay.
It will not be so much of a difficult into training near them. I understand training on this application started today.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Nationwide.
Yes.
And
in some
areas.
I know say gradually.
And say we know it will still be available to all the 950
no. Say a Ghana there.
Okay.
Hospital be all Ghana be and kakran will replace BBR.
I see.
Yes.
And you mentioned say what used to be that.
Yes.
And a very friendly
for the old. I'm talking about the old system. I know how to use it.
Okay.
Set me a hospital I know how to use it. But new one no. Old one no. It had some challenges. I said kind. But new one when it comes with more enhanced systems are a user friendly. Doctors and nurses will appreciate it. Already I've heard some feedbacks from some doctors. I say they have had exposure to it. And until I know say gradually
I see. But I mean, find out from you since you are in that space, and you've also had the chance of using systems. You said you're phone apart from say taking out the stress near there from the health workers near there. No, what other things can you say about system we having been in the space for some time? If even class, what did that no cry?
Electronic health management system there. Idea worldwide. They say I'll be Aja too. A boama. So we been poke Kumasi na bibi yeno. Or to quite crying. I'll find a card. The doctor there can access the health information. So on that count alone,
I see.
A bois as compared to old system, now just a new paper. Doctor I'm crying him previous condition. Just a honor or new diagnosis. Manka, so system we are. And could be in the last 1 month and in the last 2 months, you show for your real way and be a no crying tina. So I will see a bois for signing again. Record keeping. First, you know, your drop paper. So, in so bit me out on that in so you baby, crying out hospital and a paper in night. But our system we a bois with Sani man. And a bois with easy communication between departments.
Okay.
So me know hey, me show me so koye lab. Me tena say na ma click say be akoye full black count. Pa na lab for inside there.
Exactly.
Udu wa odo card chiro ma no ma say wona me say ba be yes lab.
Okay.
What you say?
Okay.
Ebi kra o no ma. First no, just say ye referral form. Ni a referral paper. Ni a tro yare bibia foforo. But sir system we because a war record no and no answer doctor now be o folder no
bibiegu
no a copy no dey ato and also war referral sheet referral form was our system so to the two man no a print o te say or the two man no a print no you referral amount now
I see
o te say
and
a billing systems
okay
first no Kwabena so fa calculator no a punch ebi also about 70 Ghana kra no akowe mistake no about 80 Ghana say abedeka 10 Ghana abra na iruka so deka
yeah
but LIMS system na say old system and any electronic management system bia no say me request lab me request a drone na calculated on the system enti ye wie ya ukọ accounts na accounts for abo press na okay dey aba
I see
enti obi eno eso kofa calculate bibia me order eduro eguso me order insu eguso me order para eguso me order drip eguso ni na akọ account so to do account so how do card natural ma e boy na okay
aba I see
human error be any
I see but this system no this part of our world no say I'm sure say say obe sustainia say wunya akade bi so ka ho stable power because we use computers need the keke ho me sure say I don't know say you ultimately use no offline so and
there was a connected to the system or more service
okay
and until I establishing in every hospital
okay
into every hospital no one local area network I friend in land sa system no working on
okay
into your doom light crowd records what did that no and that's all you saw plant connected to electricity. Oh,
I see.
Sanity.
And it's 950 facilities, you know, a year. Hospital, health facilities. I can see na say in
health centers in account. Polyclinics. BBA account.
I see.
Yes, BBA account.
I see.
And I yet you moka for Juma Muntiminye.
Look at the Oka again for Buelu. Because we have messages here about Hannah.
Of course.
About for Buelu.
It is a fact. Why not go to your says kana bro nim say Juma ni
exactly the point. Mo huni pa ko years ade any.
I said 2019 almost say why on the no health minister. Unim that.
But maybe say unti one more as say one more data. I mean health records ni ade ekwa ko di obi man fi. Ye be dey ni ensaka.
Say eno the health ministry ni attorney general and national security. They know what to do.
I see.
I don't want to second guess them because I'm not part of national security.
Exactly.
But I know say
I get it.
every measure they need to take and I know they will do to retrieve that information to make sure say the information and and go into the hands of Nipa Bonifor. They will do it. And the company itself, no, they know say so moye bibi etisa. Emra ebedium. And they will suffer irreparable damage if omoye bibi a on toward.
I see. No pa ke buadu. Or the about was say, where is the remaining money? Would they be held accountable? And now we're explaining.
Yes.
CCR no or say all of these cases. Okay, wicked play. The MPP wants AG to stop public. Okay, and yeah, earlier and.
Sunday my way now say AG be a press conference. Yeah, no, or the more investigation bar MPP for Becca say. Was saying food. But these are facts.
Sabugi Abuzigi or say jail them people who did that crime. And I make a no message the be ocean for omobunju so crack. Anti ebusia yeah in your bear man you go so and ye be jani muna because in the jumedie no a doso papa we kwache LGBT okay tika kam de fam kakra na but me producer say me njawmu but be di health in common and he say be opo bibi opeso de so dia na nche
for me I'm only happy about this development.
Okay.
And I know say necessary steps have been put in place to make sure say things are right. But the overarching message also Ghana for you so to say we inherited a lot of mess as a country from every sector. Every sector. It will shock you some of them are also in many sectors. But as a responsible government, you see a better reset. All these are part of reset. Say a better the right thing. Some of them may discomfort a lot of people. What's the hospital, a limb system, may do my shut it down. The paper intimate request a lab. But it is a process. So yes, that be we will suffer irreparable damage. What did they make? For me, I know certain things will be fine. Your boy President Mama Abaso, your boy Health Minister Abaso, your boy Ghana for Abaso for the massive support. In the last 10 months to carry on with the now I know say they are bearing fruit, and at the end of the day, no say you boom kompo ko echi. Say ye shen fa so they are and this are buying or they are my ebe who say no. Aba Ghana photo something ko to ye no man to no man to answer na ya ba papa edem fa so abrega.
I see. Do we know when the next ministry about in 10?
I think say it will be decided very soon.
Okay.
Yeah, be mama so much.
Okay. All right. Nti doc my na wase say wajibrena wabema yinchirimu was ensemu ya the health ministry through its minister Edibetuja efa limbs and the new platform about your friend Gibbs no and Dr. Samuel Aye presidential aid for government communication and a yanene etwetwe nkomo or de nanu December yebesia
Acting Chief Director, Ministry of Roads and Highways.
Good morning. I'm Malam Ansah, Acting Chief Executive, Ghana Highway Authority.
Good morning. I'm Eric Koforiamanfo, Director of Finance, Ghana Highway Authority.
Good morning. My name is Lawrence Lamti. I am the Deputy Chief Executive for Maintenance, Ghana Highway Authority.
Good morning. My name is Francis Alijak, Director for Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Roads and Highways, and also an old Maulian.
Okay, Honorable Minister. The first one is on paragraph 1507. And we are talking about the financials of the ministry. And Honorable Kwesi Kwenedu will handle that one, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, I'll first be looking at the statement of their financial performance. And there are two quick things that we want to talk about. First one is the road fund. there was a decline in the revenue or the balances on the road fund. What is accounting for that? Because it reduced by almost about 29-30% in the year 2023 from 950 to 677,000. Minister.
Mr. Chair, the road fund is distributed to the 3 agencies under the ministry, including the road fund and other agencies beyond road fund, like the National Road Safety Authority. So in a financial year, the releases to the ministry is distributed accordingly. Indeed, the Ghana Highway Authority operations in many cases are bigger. So the figure you see is the portion that has been released to the ministry to which Highway was a beneficiary.
Okay, Minister. Let's look at the second item that is of interest. That is the axle load spot fine. That increased by 47%. Once you see a fine, it means it's a penalty for an infraction. And that increase then decides that for most of the vehicles, is either they are overloading on our roads from the ports. Is that the case? That is why the fine keeps going up.
Mr. Chair, I think my colleague is very right. Whenever you see fines increasing, it means the crimes or the infractions upon which the fines are supposed to be taken are increasing. Chair, the story about axle load in Ghana is a very pathetic one. You listened to the president when we were doing sword cutting in Takoradi last week, and he signaled that the 2026 budget would make provision for a further investment in publicity and strengthening of the laws governing axle loading. You are right. A bulk of the overloading on our roads come from the port. When I became a minister, I went to the port, the sections that were intended to weigh vehicles loaded before they exit the port. None of the loading centers we visited were active, though the axle loading establishment was there. The vehicles somehow were bypassing the loading point. And the other problem is that the axle loading stations that have been established across the country, managed by highways, has been difficult to manage. Though highway has jurisdiction, many of the times the individuals there appear to be having their strength from beyond highways. On a particular day on my visit to Western Region once again with my staff, we were made to just review the situation. We stopped at a particular junction and stopped 5 trucks between Agona Junction and Takwa. Out of the 5, 4 were heavily overloaded, some in excess of 5 tons. Unfortunately, in our country, the laws governing axle loading are no longer fit for purpose. It is premised on something that every axle can carry about 11.3 tons or so. So people can decide to put 10 axles under a vehicle and pretend that it is within the limit. But I think we need to have a limit as to what tonnage you can carry on our road. It cannot be the case that you can load anyhow. The difficulty is that the same road I mentioned, Agona Junction to Takwa, those of you who use that road recently, you see that road is less than 1 year old, and you can see what is happening to that road. No amount of fines taken from drivers or overloaders can ever be enough to repair the damage caused to the roads you and I invest in. We have to stop people from overloading. There's a fees and charges which is in Parliament now, which should mature somewhere next week. Government has actually increased the fines of overloading from the current 5,000 to 50,000. It's a punitive measure. We are also in consultation with stakeholders to see that currently the regime is that when you are overloaded, you are allowed to bring another vehicle to offload the overloaded section and pay a small fine and go away. We are in consultation to find out whether anytime you overload, one of the punishments will be that the overloaded portion of the goods is forfeited completely and the goods auctioned by the state. I believe a combination of those and others would stop people from overloading. The neighboring countries have taken the lead. If you go to Burkina Faso, we have situations where people overload from Tema. When they get to Paga, 2 trucks, 3 trucks come from Burkina Faso into Paga to share the goods that were actually loaded on the same truck from Tema to Paga. So why is it easy for people to allow the roads in Ghana to be damaged, but before they cross over to Burkina Faso, they do that? I think we have something to learn from our neighboring countries. And in Côte d'Ivoire, actually, if your car is longer than what it is, they bring a grinder and cut the car to the length in front of you. And I think we need to get serious. Government is investing a lot. Government in the past have invested on roads. Government is currently investing huge amounts of taxpayers' money on building roads. If we don't take these steps, we can build all these roads we want, and in 3 years, there will be nothing you and I will be proud of. And we are responsible. We want to take the steps to correct the hazard loading situation. It is a very challenging situation which must be dealt with now.
Minister, I understand that the driver ought to be punished, but the place where they load these things from, shouldn't they also be sanctioned? Because usually they load it from the ports, our own ports. They watch them leave. So that if the driver is to be sanctioned, the person who also supervised for such a load to go unchecked should also be sanctioned. Don't you think so?
Chair, I agree entirely with you. So we are actually extending the people who are supposed to be punished for the overloading beyond the driver. The owner of the goods would also now suffer by forfeiting the overloaded portion of their goods. Indeed, if the overloading doesn't take place at the port and other places, there shouldn't be any reason for the punishment to start with. Indeed, at the port, we need to strengthen. Unfortunately, the ports are not under the jurisdiction of this ministry, but we are working together with our colleague at the Ministry of Transport to make sure. And I'm using this opportunity to tell all those third-party service providers at the port who actually are paid by the taxpayer to install hazard loading stations, yet collect our money and never make sure the weighing takes place. Be aware that government is aware, and I'm hesitant of mentioning the names of some of those operators because we were there. They installed very brand new hazard loading stations, and they were told that customs people have given them waivers. So this also goes to customs. You have absolutely no power to allow overloaded vehicles to exit the port under any circumstance. They must go through the hazard loading station to make sure that the goods they are carrying are within the allowable weighing on public roads in our country. So you are right. We need to extend the punishment beyond the driver to the owner of the goods, and the person actually putting or certifying the good to be put on the vehicle must also come into focus.
Thank you, Minister, for that elaborate insight into that. And I'm glad you brought the portion of the Burkina Faso border with them, where they decouple the goods and make sure they break them down into pieces. You see, the sad part is that most of these vehicles are Ghanaian vehicles. They transport from Tema Port to the border, and they allow them to offload in pieces to send into the country so that their roads will be maintained properly and nice. But they turn around and complain that, oh, government, the construction of our roads are not in good standard and the rest. Meanwhile, it is our own doing as Ghanaians, most often, the vehicles that we use in plying our roads and overloading them. So I'm glad you brought that one. We'll be with you in any sort of measure that you would use so that some of these overloading will be a thing of the past. We'll be with you. Whatever laws you would want to bring, and they are within the right frame, as it would help us to be able to do that. We'll be with you. But my last one is about, you talked about the difficulty with some of these satellites as the weighing loads, management of it. Because you talked about, you went to Accra100.5FM, stood and was observing, and that some of these Azulu, even on the routes, are not doing the job as they are supposed to do. How do you envisage bringing them under your roof to be able to manage them well? Whilst intermittently along the way, we probably have very good Azulu weighing management system to continuously be doing that for us.
Chair, having become the minister responsible for road, I was surprised at the amount of money that is paid as a load station attendant, and the push by the caliber of people who want to operate as a load station. Mr. Chair, there could be members of parliament vying to be as a load station operators or managers, chiefs, pastors, party bigwigs, businessmen. It cannot be the 900 cedis they pay them. We also did some work which will come out soon, but the brief I've had. For instance, there's an as a load station where we went, and then we were told the computer was faulty, so they were allowing the vehicles to pass through. When I threatened to sack everybody, somehow the computers came alive. During the investigation that was carried out, yet to be concluded, it turns out that even the data that is recorded when the vehicles go onto the bridge, weighing bridge is just data that can be wiped out. So in other words, if the data is not protected, assuming 20 vehicles went on the bridge and were even fined, and the fines paid, somebody can decide to wipe the data to suggest that no vehicle was caught. I think the solution is not to build more ASIL loading stations. It is the loading points that we need to enforce, and also to make sure that the punishment for overloading is far more punitive than this. In many other countries, you dare not overload. And I can tell you for a fact, Ghana invests more on the maintenance and construction of more roads than any of our neighbors. Just check their data. We spend much more money on maintenance and building of new roads than our neighbors. Somehow, their roads last longer. It is also not because the Ghanaian contractor does a shoddy work all the time, because our engineers and contractors actually work in other countries beyond the borders of Ghana, and they do good job as well. It is simply because partly we actually allow overloading on our road. No road can be built to carry 100 tons, 120 tons. But those are the things that we carry on our roads in Ghana. 120 tons by one vehicle. Which engineer is going to be able to design a road envisaging that somebody is going to drive 120 ton goods on that road? We cannot do that because the cost is unbearable. So we will take action, and I'm very grateful for your offer to support whatever steps we will take to make sure we reduce or we eliminate this, and also to make sure our roads last longer whilst we keep investing. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Some of the axle loads areas, the entrance and the exit of these places are so dangerous. There's one in my constituency that you can count on having an accident, at least one in either every 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks. And it's so serious. And it's on a straight road that all these big cars go so fast on it. You hear ping pong, but if there's a ditch out there that the trucks even get into accident at that place, I think somebody needs to look at it. I don't know if it's the operator of the place or your ministry.
The chairman, it's obviously under the purview of the ministry, but specifically under the highway authority. So it is our responsibility to determine, even if we have a private, a third party building it, we have to certify the design and other things. So you've raised it, others have raised it, and we are reviewing all that as part of what we want to do to improve safety and longevity of our roads.
Thank you very much. Now let's move to the next one. Management issue is on paragraph 1516, and it's outstanding interest liability on delayed payments. And it says the recommendation is we recommended to management to liaise with all relevant stakeholders to raise the necessary funding to address the growing liability and ensure projects are not halted due to delay in payment of certificates. We also advise management to ensure that contracts are not awarded when funds are not available to ensure the completion of the projects. At the time of the audit, we owed 615 million Ghana cedis on delayed payments. What has happened now, sir?
Chair, sadly, the situation is getting worse. But as you said, the recommendation from the auditors is right within the law that we should make sure contracts are awarded only when we can justify it. Chair, you will bear with me that it's not easy to tell some communities why their roads cannot be fixed within a certain budget window, because the road network is nothing to write home about. But it's also true that we overcommit in terms of how much we can pay for, not by the fault of the ministry, but by the popular demand of the people we serve, including members of parliament who represent their people. So I can understand why government overcommits sometimes, but we need to make the money available to pay contractors. The specific issue about interest on delayed payment, I think government in 2023 took a good decision when they reviewed the Act 25, which until then allowed government contracts that attract interest, and the interest should be calculated compounding. In 2023, that was reviewed, I think, at 1114, Section 17, which now says that interest should be simple. But beyond that, why are we paying interest in the first place? It's because government overcommits and people raise certificates and have to wait for 3, 4, 5 years. Fairly, there has to be a way of making them get their money back. So for instance, what we are doing under the big push is to write into the contract that there will be no mobilization and no interest on delayed payment. Because if I read the Section 3 of the new Act, it's talking about when the contract says there's interest. So it's not compulsory to write into the contract that there will be interest. However, government will also make sure that the 90 days window to settle the bill is also not exceeded. So we actually spoke to every person interested in carrying out big push to take note of the fact that this contract does not have a clause for you to charge interest. And we are determined to pay them before the 90 days, far before the 90 days. If that happens, we can gradually come to a conclusion where we don't have to write the provision of paying interest on delayed payment to any contractor at all, because frankly speaking, it's a drain on the national resource. You spoke about 600 million. I can tell you we are If I were to add the interest on delayed payment of all the agencies, we may be more than 10, 15 billion Ghana cedi. It's not sustainable.
Okay, I will allow you. Yes,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minister, you mentioned that you put a clause in there that will prevent inclusion of interest on payment. And you also said that you're not going to give mobilization. So if a contractor goes to the bank for a loan to come and start a project, and you say you're going to pay in 3 months, which is fair. If something happens and you don't pay, what happens? His interest will be accumulating at the bank. So what happens in that case?
Chair, that is why I said we want to start this gradually. Most contractors are not interested in interest on delayed payment. The only reason they are forced to do that is because we hold their money and for 2, 3, sometimes 8 years, 9 years. So they have no choice than to do that. If the atmosphere is created where, in fact, currently it's 6 months, the law says we pay them in 6 months. We don't intend to pay people in 6 months. Once the regime of payment improves, contractors don't really care whether...
0302 208090 0302 208090. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, daughter.
Na bibi aboko de.
Boko na ozo.
Kakra yeguso. Now, your first say. Yo, etio.
Etie, nsema daughter bet na ha bobo so na. Sa asem we nyina ye tia bre. Ye o create ames ne ye ne de. Yes, ye hema ye de contact na ma ne pan. Wanya adwuma ye tia ne ka. Ono kura adwuma ya nya ono nya kwati ni block ye system no. Ade na mre ne ye fa ho. Ade na mre ne ye o. Sa asem we ma kan every day be me ka. Me see kwaya mama kwa so yi levi. Kwaya o fa so yi be 10,000. On fa sa kwa ne so no yi sa pili bag na MP for the ashe ho no. Se sa de o ma nya on ha da ko boys ne de bo se sa mo yoga abe yes na o ma na obi ko wi abode ya jere ne 10 years on woni hu kwa se obi ko wi million o cedi na ono wo hu kwa se o time paake and our best nyina so be o mo fa pili bag ne kwa ma our best nyina our best so sa de ko wi obeti ma tade aba ana wo timi fama ono mo nya Ghana fo di samra no kwa bi o mo fa so yi sa pili bag loan o mo fa so yi sa pili bag loan do the way ko kwa jima manu mu nyina we mu nyina asa ya je o mu nyina mo mu didi asa nka samre ni yiri ya je itu okura na to no ogene ho ba yo so na no uti asema lawyer ampa koka o so o mu ta o mu ba se o mu chi wa ye nhwemu because o ma di kan ye bisa mo ra apa me hu no video bisa asa radio station na to no woka asa ye for sad ni people no hu se yes friend yes robia o
okay. Mamenda wase. All right. And you busy with my boss. Now, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your boarding baby or Cassie free?
But you make us feel a body.
The girl saying,
make me did it, Auntie Maggie.
Yo, Auntie Maggie, my auntie.
Oh, me pout. Oh, the big hammy, Galan saying, the yet soon. My ya. Almost no, maybe a while. Ye the fresh na ya kira baby a omu baby omu ye show no obu ofanse ayebi e so bi wa ye plan say anu omu tu galas ene ya me ni ukete omu tu bi wa isuo no na se isuo no e ko plan mu
ene ya
o say
enda sem na wuken
ene ya omu ko o se si ameke omu be hu so omu tu sa omu di champagne exercise onu iso ni ye friend
anum me sure say mpenifo tie dwumede de eso pa mpenifo tie meken me sure say wono mo ebetu hana mo why
na omu wi ayo man Ghana sika na de bi omu be kasa say ye be ti omu no mu sole no mu srete omu ti mi nyo omu hwe no wa nya no wa ti san go for na ye be ye dom say na bra ni ka ye na ye gbo ba ye nya kwanya ma omu so ye gbo papa ya ye ni mu huma say ye ko ye na mu kra ni ye ton nyama say people for no to make who ye say omu just come see that 100 ni ton nyama ni ye te na ye ya no mu ti aka mu aka ti no edo mama ye nyama sa
Ebeyi, mayenda wase. Ofofro so mbra homa ne so. Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Bibi aboko de.
Jamiti.
Wada mabodi ma ye ni bibi okase free.
Meji ubi all my tea bazango.
Yo, ain't you?
Me kasa feel about.
Okay, yeah that's it. Ain't you?
Em said you so ma we mu. Obi ko tu banche okojel. Obi ko wi akoko okojel. Ade to obi fa abansika also free bargain. Yes, you free bargain in the empo. Yam pekwa anti man pay phone chat so man you start to you betu your home.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Say why you need tiawa e dia man sa anso na onso betimi aba homa ne so. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes sir.
Yeah, you're from Lolonyo.
Lolonyo ka se free.
Happy days.
Yo.
Na me pesa me bisa say. President Mahama no osuro nkonfo ya na said yen. Ontini enti ayeto abama ni 57 no. Onti atie. Accountability enti ya 257 no. Young mama, you come in Kuma be tired without detention. Panukotum, that broken account, they is scanning in a film. I didn't know ye.
Abutre. Ebeye. All right. Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Pacha bodin baby okase free.
My friend Moses.
Moses okase free.
Tantan.
Yo, ejament you.
Na former road minister. Kena mwamuyo mu. Otiho onina mhopa. Kena mwamuyo mu. Pacha wuna mbisao.
Sa.
Wuna mbisao.
I see. Also, dear, near your home.
Furiata. Oye, sorry, now, what kind baby?
So, Furiata 7 year OSP ho.
Monkanya,
okay. What? Yeah, that's it. All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your body, baby, or Cassie free? Yo, could you end you?
Oh, Nasa.
Yes, sir.
And you are buying with you. I mean, you I want to more your mind to be prosecuting for power. Yeah, you're more to where my book and young buyer for that. You get to get your mind about. Hey, Mama, you take it for more. You can't send your mother a year before crowd with you. Boss, I'm not sure I'm going to be. I'm going to go more.
Okay. Yo, yes, yeah, that's it. Ufre. Enti, sa na wonso betimi afre na waba dwumedie ni so. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Pacha body baby o kase free.
And I mean san come on the encounter.
Dey be ya no.
But alaji baby o bia.
Yes, ojo so.
O yama adoya o yama o mangana.
Great.
Then I say any animal said, almost fair say, on per se, dealing for two baby, a day on better, slow by sure. My dad would be nice to the kite, he said, slow by sure.
I see.
The money to my oh, yeah, what did Ghana capre? Me now by account. Shasama Road, yeah, almost 8 years, and then end this buyer on my side to almost yeah, first Uba Shama Road. One village, one dam, no prayer. Asama no Benyano. You see, on my statue, yeah. The day on Moody Scana question on my entity for I get on my next time. On my account, yeah. The Bia minimum. Come chef, some fine suit, a GMC on Shetan on mobile on by year or on Munina. There is threatened. Then share me and trust with any BBA MPP there. The one my discanning. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Yeah, that's it. Seven so afraid. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Bacha Bodi maybe okase free. Beautiful. Bibi aboko there. Yeah, they were there say. Nti awie ma enti o.
Yeah, ma mubo ani adwuma pa no dey show.
Yeah, that's it. Sir.
Have the nation at heart.
Sir.
As I'm no journalist, yeah, mama. Tell the man in the bill. Tell him no.
Minimum pa.
Deputy election director in charge of
population.
Tell him no.
Minimum.
And I shall my joy. Is that what it is? Only no.
Oh, Kawasa also.
I say, if you are a boy, I'm going to cry, that you are free, and I'm going to go.
Sir.
Young son was there, and Johnny Park, the other just a criminality that is saying, where we from what you are saying. If you can do the best, this is the time, the best day about the so funny because we are just a wild government, you know, that I should say, corruption. From no across the road, a giant for one sabi young Chibo and Bible. If I try a better war, or when you get here, a better war, and behind this cinema, but there is no way that can be a better message. Oh, I'm a movie. Taking your onion and Mr. Sabi, Ghana for your because I say, and you know, which you say, where your master. All
right. That's it. Oh, Debbie. Oh, cock. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your body, baby? Or case free?
About your family, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah, because of yes,
I see. Mind you.
Let's say, after one say, the Kasa, young funny Dima, your mom penny. To be sorry, and John Mama, and yet, there's some brofo now to be in Kakra, or your mom penny, Mama, now ye come. Mem would you or mom penny say, in some Yakaki now, what? Obedi Hujuma. Oh, you're slow, but very sure. You are wishing me say, when this guy, I cannot. That could you cry a better can say, hey, if you papi or edible. Until moving out, but no she sending you may. Now, you're waiting, no, I am my Madam.
All right, Mammy, now I say, I will also be to me a friend now. Do I drink Eddie about 0302 208090 0302 208090. Also be to me about now. We about was the transport minister. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Pacha Bodin baby or case free. Okay, yet you. Pacha ete wakapa.
Okay. Many to Pachi. Ashima Subaka.
Okay.
Masuho don't come here. That's what I need to. When you win, hello?
It's you, Pa, it's you.
But I say, when I say, Messer, or Mampany, you hear me see a person on you. And it's a special prosecutor office. My own group, my own. Our special prosecutor. When you on Pamon. And then I say, on my age, on Pam. Now, on fact, the originator, the board dignity special prosecutor, don't stand for number. On any one, or not any level. Papa, we must start here to Makama. A Kufa said that the Mancasabachi near me empty before any attachment. Any Yawasafuma from NDC for them to bet you on. In case Sadia, any Mapam, and no Pam and Coy. And no say, Matu, any NDC for the free. And you only obey too much NDC for go. Upon by or before your bonnet, MPP for Naibon. Emma, almost Tampa one so. And then, we see a been buying. Almost the name by only play agenda. But the Saki Kakika, MPP criminals in Anna, what you are free Yoko, any investigative bodies in answer, and our Tonaso. Anna, why is a Kramaya or that another? On our only, on also on many answer. Miss Red on penny. Only Kusija being free officer. Or yeah, no, yeah. After she meets Ghana, Emma Interpol, Eba Ghana, Eba Ma, your papa, a friend saying, Ekochi Shatawale from international friends saying, a shame the Shatawale, same rather, a bit mammy afa, the friend say, finance minister, I'm a beginner. Did you get okay? I didn't be a casa as a before, I check it is long overdue. That you moment the report, I'm on Mampenny, the amount, the friends are Attorney General. Attorney General, me pay the oil. I was so ochira say moody, aqua could do, and the children mind for. That's in this and into your better. I have, am I a crabati enche? And I say, Obama and Nancy, I ha. Now, what prosecute Obia, not you differ at Raquafiape. And I have better. I'm in feel nice. That's in feel nice when and this is free power. When you some which cases, if it's a will be painted and what's the right in a bar, you are in a near to intimate. Oh, money, when you have not prosecution, and also one. You only for Omiano, before you're funny to me and Jessica. It doesn't.
All right, yes, so yeah, that's it. Oh, my your last caller, Nafi, Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Nyamiadum na wonswe.
Akopado.
Wadama. Okay.
Mamole.
Great.
Ogano medikipa.
Yate. Mayenti you. Okay.
We di kind. Best threaten e bin anu mi na akata no. President Mahama. Una oye commander in chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Unsa wo to me. Actually, Obia or Ghana Sasuha. Anything, share or Rano, a dear Ghana Libya, not also die pet, no book between any here, no kind. Let's represent Mahama. Ghana need that so you know, you was that year excellent, but all Rano dear, you give one grock a credit pet, no more proud, what's that year in the Begera. It's a natural, one that. Property. Let's share. With this town, and I show more sad say. Emre ko. Who actually Katana dos dodo. The deal. Let's share party for say. A form yet. The cast a form ya. About ye excellent. For the beer this about for now. Put them kind of beer. The boom. Omo to abama party na ne. Aye no yam shepeno. In ne. Opo ministry beer. Ope juma. Yes, CEO ni ho, deputy ni ho, minister ni ho, a board the qualifier. Then BRBC. It's almost patch. Let's say you better about 2028. Some of the who a form for. Accra work on it.
Asem sebe. Ya dasi. Nti yede. Nkomotwetwe ni nyina no ABC ewa ha. Na medika ya kachire o se enche abedwafo enso ba be cancer nti yeguso ye boy chiri ediaba Mohammed Misbahaduin ena Misbahaduin ena odiaba. I hope I got your name right. Was say God bless President Mahama for good governance. Dela Hammond say the transport minister has to fix all the toll booths that the former minister Amakwata closed down. And also Mohammed Ibrahim say good evening uchiaye Bernard Adeti see the opposite people of Ghana NPP. Okay. And the messages in Dosso Paul Amezoji or say NDC is better than MPP. Marcus Yabua or say how Ghana development how can Marcus o message no nye clear anti brabie na fe yenhwe na yenkan emfa maw ewo ho anti hyene so odi ba afi na yayi meyenko ahoma no so na yeni yenua the honorable member honorable Sulemana Adama oye mrashebedwani a owo 10 constituency anti wo information and communication committee so ewo parliament mrashebedwe fie ho na yene ne ntwetwe nkomo emfa a very important discussion a start eba ewo ho honorable mema wa highway honorable bibia boko de
nyame adomboko
ya da obo ade ase we dey frɛ wo a enye boni em say eye amendment bill be concerning cyber security ena ehu akoye nsem bebre obia de nam dia opese ode nam yenya wi ene ye bo akiri ahwe say first of all kire yemu ana fa ye femu say what is the rationale who ben here say na bill we be amend certain aspect of it.
Okay. Me da se me che what you for. Communication space no. Any the digital space bia enyin tentem. Ekona ni mun tentem. Enunti over communication ecosystem na agencies e wo nyina omumra no ebi di 15 years ebi di over 10 years ebi di 12 years enunti abefo nyoma e paso no kasi apple from rano enunti ama omana kasa e sofa ena me no ti hai public officials people who are ya colony omo account ya create different accounts in their name ya the export to from for your media no. We traditionally used to have the traditional media, radio, television. But unless nipa be bring your information from social media and the digital space. And in the end, now say 10 years, 20 years ago, we are the same thing. And then they say all the ecosystem agencies in our ministry, every digital infrastructure and digital operations, ebano. Yebe some rano. And every agency under the ministry, GIFECO, Cyber Security, Data Protection Commission, all the agencies, they are undergoing changes in their enactment. And the principal enactment, no, but portions do and there was changes on all the not just cyber security. And there's that need, if you say, we need to keep up with the pace of development our ecosystem.
Na enti edie na edin chinu ahyiwi aba between muamunu anmu a wono the other side ewo mrahye bedwafie ho enei nkomodie ni bia akoye se mo peka amanfo kasabo ahye omuyem mo mpese nkofo ebe as it were ebe take him on for accountability ni de keke ka hu
kakra if you say all the opportunities. Bill no cry in present here.
No kwa.
Bill no have not even been late to Parliament on the floor. And you were all the opportunities and the tools are. You better be an input to a bill no. Now you have say amendment security authorities no no. You just say 8,000 more 9,000 more. But I'm not surprised. Say minimum echo the court of public opinion. Because there are a lot of lobbies, a lot of interest groups. If you are Marana, a very reduce on the total control over the sector. If you are the revenue may reduce. If you are the cloud or sector may be quieted down. And to those interest groups and so on, almost all issues some protect your interest. So for me, they can use a lot of people, including members of parliament. And yes, they are. And members of parliament will opportunity at each stage of the bill, no, I have been protested the opportunities are there for fears I want to bring it on board. Because bill making, any one day work. Law making, any one day work. It will come as a bill. We will read it. It will be sent to the committee, Committee, the adjourned committee, communication, and then subsidiary legislation. Then you are more parliament, cross by cross. Every amendment will be subject to determination and a vote on the floor. Even when it is voted on, you can still bring it for second consideration stage. You could do third reading and pass it. And there are opportunities and mechanisms for every opinion to be expressed on it based on its merit. And to be a non-public opinion in there, it means their interest groups the amendment no more. And it's to safeguard our own interest. They protect your cyber security space. Dunia, Nancy and I know who say a taxi. There's a sea cable. Our mobile network operators went off the radar. Some for 72 hours, some for 48 hours. Cyber issues are critical issues. A critical national infrastructure. And those infrastructure, you can't leave it without the required legislation. And so, there could be more reasoning. But I can assure them it will come to the floor. We will debate it passionately because it's about our future. It's about young living. Because the cyber space is threatened that aviation will suffer, industry will suffer, education will suffer, communication will suffer, even the whole life, our lifestyle cannot go on now. So we need to safeguard it.
I see. And come on, any dia udi can opening remarks no na edi madwene gina bibi so say mo committee ne so no say minority for was so.
No minority was so. And surprisingly, at the beginning of this year, at a constituent committees in year, you could share all the agencies under the ministry or Aqua Safari. Okay. One of the issues that we committee, they buy and say, legislations are govern all the institutions, have been outdated and take problems, mine. So we are asking the ministry, led by the minister, to lead a charge to say a best legislation, as a committee. Just last month, we took a tour of all the agencies, our Minister of Communication as a committee. One of the issues the ranking member of the committee actually raised and he said the legislations are late and they are getting late. What is the state of the legislations? My ministry, like you recommending the ministry and famra. In fact, I also went forward to ask the minister, say, we want a stakeholders engagement. And the minister also said, we will be the last stakeholders to be engaged and that they are doing other stakeholder engagement. They will bring it to the committee even before it is late. So there are NPP members on the committee. I know they take decisions. It has not even come to the committee. So I'm surprised of what they are doing outside.
I see. I say, Mushia, Kukwemu and Komono, different from the Omde Barbonting.
And I say, either it is politics or some strong lobby and they pushing an agenda.
I see. Now, Honorable, Mamim Busso, apart from say one more committee in this one, now one more issue during your deliberations at the stage now more brainstorming to bring up this bill, no, and this amendment bill, no, our more contributing, no. Like you are saying, also one say mobile bontia no more card for front. Who say groupings been a show much.
If you say you were all the safeguard mechanisms, so who say provisions need to propose bill no mechanisms are there for them to bring their views. You can even move whilst I consider them no. You can move your own narrative over say Emra bill no. There are too many safeguard mechanisms. Number two, then you are Kojo upon Groma. Also on the front to Adewe on a Kawan Sembebri. When he was the Minister for Information, he brought a bill to Parliament the broadcast bill.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it went through. Why was he bringing the broadcast bill? Embedded in that bill on Debano, some of the provisions are, and all can want to be. Because he told us, we need to protect broadcast states because people are taking advantage. One of the key concerns or the buyer, Ghana for now, almost broadcasting straight to Ghana. Yemrano doesn't cover them. He was so critical about Kevin Taylor broadcasting mechanism that he wanted the law that will cover them too. Why didn't he leave the space? Why was he proposing a law? Because he thought that he cannot have an unfettered access to the airspace and anything.
I see.
Yes, we have freedom of the media. We have freedom of expression. You can't say anything. And that's the reason why.
Honorable Chia ho kakra mayen ase ye lusu. Say emu ya da ho kakra.
Okay.
Say de emu ye. Oh, Debbie.
Minister, try to bring a law to cover people who don't even belong from your jurisdiction. If they have anything against or any contrary view against proposals on Modebana, we have the forum for them.
I see.
They will start the engagement with the committee. Then before it even comes to the plenary, a better committee.
Yeah.
And you're standing orders, every member of parliament to say committee meeting there, even if it's not your committee, you have the right to be there, participate at any committee. It is open for them.
I see.
This is just the beginning.
Nti da be ne ye hwe nim say bill ne be ba plenary.
Oh, bill ne there, when we engage the minister, the minister said they were doing consultations.
Okay.
In fact, in the consultations, you have to share the bill with some people, some interest groups that are also interest room.
Okay.
When it is one of those things that are falling into their hands, they are doing it. So when the bill will come to Parliament, it will be determined by the executive, which is led by the minister.
I see. Honorable Mame na wase awie ni nchiremu a wodi ama me name ma hwefo ne metifo wo Accra 100.5 iso. All right. Yo, yeah, this is for that say. Nti abusia for Honorable Adama Suleiman wo ye mrahebedwani a wo time ho ene no twetwe enkomo wo ye a member of the Information and Communication Committee wo mrahebedwe ho na mame nkoso a na meni Abubakar Isaka wo ye president edema Cyber Security Expert Association of Ghana ho na meni no entwetwe komo Alhaji salamu alaikum. Hello. Na bibia boko de
Yamina don mo pai bo bibia boko.
Ye de radiase. Na me first question me bisa ayi amendment bill mo na mo share kire ana.
Well, me sponsors no.
I see.
Amendment bill.
Okay.
Me ya come on say. Yes, suggested the minister in charge and the cybersecurity authority. Yes, cybersecurity act now you want. Nyama bebre wo mo a gaps. Enti no yen hwena yen review. Enti echo stakeholders enim. And omo inviting for omo nim die ewo emra ho. I'm talking about understanding on the law. Any understanding in the ecosystem. Into a mutana send a draft a bill. But they say baby a bill net when say almost true way and on the buy the bemay and say the engineer and him na bibia ye hu say e koyie no na yen support bibia ye hu say en koyie no yen fire suggestions and bra into started on the 1st of this October. And almost your mobile ending on the 24th. But yes, I'm from film now. Now we are talking about the whole of a 36-page
amendment draft no and nya de ketewa e wo say hwemu section by section na yesu me hu say ebeboa yen as a nation and as a ekowa yen and as a bi wo ha ye de beka ho and as a bi wo ha yen yan bank nti almost extend no say from now till next month first I guess on be be fine. But that notwithstanding, the Cybersecurity Experts Association of Ghana, no, you transfer the professional body meaning you catch on with cybersecurity expert. So we how you call it, combine the experts' opinion on the Amendment Act, and you didn't in a but omoma extension. You who say now you not need the brain super so almost further suggestions the back. Into my yes, to say you best agree further, how do you call it, idea, then reviews on the amendment, and after the FID above, then we'll resubmit it again to the authority. And on actually, on that one, after now after the back, then we'll sit one-on-one and justify. Now, almost I justify, say, section where I in this amendment, I see any saying a person, me, I'm say a boy, and yes, okay, then yeah, just into yeah, all this content back, and we are now say, I caught my city, now or more, I'd add and Raquine, then it will become an act.
I see. And by extension, no, as a moniji the amendment na abanu so far ni ho.
As I'm going to have no meaning.
And say
I represent your body, and Mecca the how do you call it, the feeling and the euphoria from the professional body. I am mixed. Some of these sections in the proposed amendment, too harsh. And experts have opinion that it is going to give a certain level of powers to the authority. Other experts on Suji to say, and not the Myanmar authority, no, Ayo Majuma. Minua, and now me know the HCI. Ghana for Ashre more than 19 million Ghana cedis through cyber and related offenses. Next January, by June, 14 million. By the end of August, it can have for more than 19 million Ghana cedis. And where you see car or more real every Ghana for and the fire there for financial. And what are the limitations for the authority? Authority, our computer emergency response team 24/7 omuji complaints, but omuji complaints in area there is no prosecutor, what do you call it, where the non-permanent means
prosecutorial
the perpetrators and omuya investigation in area na say there it make a then along the line victims at the complaints about say as authority than white elephant. Because me no more we are misita. Mostly you 292. Now you complain more, but you complain more. You only take the data and you report. Now more the press release are back. But how are you clamping down on the perpetrators? And not the justification part for the authority to also prosecute. They can also cause for arrest. Into information about say ya far there for so area mesika into kwan ben so no authority no so betimi afa dia how do you call it adjust those kind of information and I said to be able to access those cyber devices and now further investigation because when you say Ghana before you can do certain things in terms of investigation you need a whole lot of enactment, and I said to me, I'll bet me the IS idea. So in this now you are limited. So in this sense, we see, sir, the cybersecurity authority is limited in terms of clamping down perpetrators of cybercrime. And but it's a two-side thing and a professional body in Edinburgh. So we have various aspects of professionals that feels that to me the when you know not the back and the authority, then the authority will not be able to.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. To me, then but in the other sense, people are also having a feeling, then that will mean that they are going to abuse the authority being given to them. But the other front of is like a front and back, to just put it in a nutshell, like I said, a highly mixed reaction.
Okay.
That comes with it. By your professional body, we are strongly of the opinion that there should be a review of the Act 1038 because meme known in say 2020 now you are on Mampenye Dada appending an assent on the Cybersecurity Act 1038. Now that time not emerging technologies like Internet of Things, any artificial intelligence, and these advanced technologies, not a young mass be brave. Into emra those things, those men are now effort through these emerging technologies. It is not stated clearly in the act. And normally now, you know, I was saying them, yeah, they come and I may know more media. Even people can even impersonate your media platform to churn out a whole lot of misinformation. How are we able to clamp down on some of these things? Disinformation, misinformation is really now. And there are certain parts of the sections that are okay, but a bit more younger professionals, I will confidently tell you that it has to be looked on again. And a bit so home point will say a primo cry. But for now, we are very relaxed. We are not making that noise because the avenue has been provided to us to now bring in our input. This is the time to now bring in our input. The input in we are not a final one, no cabinet, and now if you have a cabinet approval and back to parliament, and now after the then we will now have a justification to make noise and ensure that the right thing is done. But you see, our moment to me say, young fire drink and fambra, the young how we work on this. That is what we want to exhaust for now. But a two-side issue. If you are in Koyi, then you so high Koyi.
Oh, okay. And that's it. That's it. Most more perspective. Amodia ba. Won't come out to anymore. Nyami shirao. Share ni say. Mubenya further appreciation and then engagement. Mubenya no mubenya benya understanding to the document. Nafi. Abana bibi Ansah Koyi amaye.
Yo, okay. That's also.
All right. Nti ebusan for ni abema Abubakar Isaka, President Cyber Security Expert Association Ghana na yene no atwetwe nkomo ewo ho no. Nti yeguso a ye hwe nim se yene penifo ba ko mienu bi ebesan atwetwe nkomo na fe bibibia nso aye kama ewo ho no. Nti no ye bo akiri ahwe ye nkomo twetwe na yeguso a yade ebremono. very very interesting. Now me no say a lot of people niyama bi on social media ne so a any the cyberspace ya na edin so boni pa and a lot of people, individuals, a kuo ni de kekeka ho. And for example, krom ha se we the petit trua a lot of enema ufemu, especially se ujiji wanimu o social media no so a enema utimi femu no ya na no den. They said the honorable member kan ye, the honorable member for time editu ye. Ya kloni mpenifo bebre wo krom ha, ya kloni omo social media handles na sebi one more in the name of whatever edi ye niema hodo bebre antwa na chese eni emfa kwan mu okwan bi aso enti senka bibi se bana se ba be kio ana ba be boa na etu saa dwumedie no sasa eni wo mo a wono mo ayo madwene se wo mo no sebi wono mo mpa bibi papa bi anye otene dem nya laptop ba ku bi enya data guswa na just okeka niema bomu na the brony friend unsuspecting individuals no na brameye we say me MPC na wa clone wa fa MP ni picture na just the ye niema bebri no saa de we itusu sananka ejaye anka ebeboa yinyina but once again ye ya na man yosem ye ntiase na ye can focus abua sebi the fact say wunya data etna social media be so ubie page ya yenju sika utna ho wunya data 1 cdb 2 cds bia utimi eko social media bia so no akọ create account na wodi yewa wodi bia wo pe no eno so nkyere se ye wo freedom of speech ne de kan nkyere so utimi atena social media so di nkomo bia sebi ense na mfata and now call social media and so me person I don't even know me nim sebi ebinumu use no for very good purposes and very good idea ebinumu so just basa kra enti se sa na mon way empenifo hwe na ye tu anamon bia ye nka se be ka okasa bo ahye yem but you have to be responsible. The first was space be our social media and so no interest o mount to pay o following be near there. And don't forget that most of these people who do some of these things, you know, especially one more kikas in some basa or social space in this one, following your move on. And just one reckless comment, a bit to me, will say I destroy BBR. It is a way and a way no amendment, you know, air barbecue. Na buana ya sanitize system ni mu a me de enka me feel say ya de papa once again ye de ya man yosem ne ade ye de ne saa na akogegu na fu bia ubesi I clear but I hope say enkonyasie ni stakeholder engagement no ekoso no obi ade be bia no on board bia no interestingly one so ejina bonten ekeka ne enyina no they are also part of a committee omo ye parliamentarians ya one mo fully represented on the committee led by the ministry. In fact, ministry nene bill no ane na dwen Paul de ba no any afani afanyina e wo marsebeje fie nyina no e wo committee so a omoto ato adwene and say wo any problem with the bill why are you not taking it to the committee level to discuss it and then firm it up and before it even gets to the plenary for ubia be hu de ekoso na so machiro madwene e wo so na momuno you decide to go into the media space to kikan kofuti bomu ne ade. I don't think that is the way to go. I don't think this is what we want to do to ourselves as a people. And you know media me feel say genuinely no bibi wo ho a e wo say ye tenetene e wo amendment bill ni mu a emphasis as boni bia beba. Why not? We should be able to do that. After all, the rules of engagement and the laws are made for us as a people. It is a BB and your representation sooner. Representatives soon a good match be fear wa. Ye or more among Quaco Jira Nemo atwa I shemra a bebo yen na ho bine. And it is a obi se ne bo ndwi bibi so a, we have to give the person the space to vent it out. But say adwenkyerɛ no nso kɔyɛ bibi te sɛ me toto boaba park so asɛ adwumadie no nyinaa nso dia adabraka ɛno nso no it means sɛ yɛntimi na yɛnsoso so saa ɛmfa nyɛ sɛ adwuma no nti no me deɛ meka ne sɛ yɛnhwɛ space no me I think that bill no in fact the member of parliament na kyerɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ adeɛ public document kora but eliki kurom ha deɛ biribiara ne adeade ha nti yɛnyɛ bi so akan nti yɛbɔ akyire ahwɛ in subsequent nkɔmmɔdi a yɛbɛdi wɔ ha no deɛ yɛn nso yɛfeel sɛ deɛ ɛka ɛyɛ part of the amendment bill a ebia ɛde nsinsuanso bɔne bi a na biribi saa bɛba mpanimfoɔ ani nkɔɔ ho no yɛso yɛba abɛkyirim na afei yɛakyerɛ yɛadwene wɔ ho after all, like I said, the laws are going to be made for us to as it were obey nti yɛnhyɛ ne nso wɔ hɔ yɛgu so ɛdi nkɔmmɔ na yɛahwɛ sɛdeɛ dwumadie no nyinaa no ɛbɛsi fa akɔ ɛwɔ hɔnom. Trending issues no ene ye bo akiri na ye dia ma minsa kapani kwankyerefo woda in fact ni nimdie efa ye fuo ne nsɛmsɛm ne ho de be kyese your match yewura Benjamin Nsia ewa homa ne so a ye ne no twetwe komo chief me wa ha o
ya minia
na bibia bɔkɔ de
da me dia che
ye de radiase we dey a quick one on the fuel conversation and they yenyan ntie se nyame pa November 1 2025 in fuel no besa drop biem is that the case?
It is because the two variable indicators now the fuel prices are favorable petroleum diesel. Ocean price that the international market swat about averaging about 3%. And now we see there's been some appreciation of about 2% against the dollar. So who will do all other factors, especially the conversion factor now of the various products. And I was about of November. The first window of November no. Say farm go products by Obiano. That's okay.
I see. Na this trend no is it going to continue for as long as variables here working show up strongly ana?
Fortunately for us, international market no price no into me and say this view because one, it is not in the national security interest and economic interest of America and the European Union. So either finished product, not a crude oil, no, nebo because they have this that the nebo cost Russia, the Beneskatet, I found the Nakona of Ukraine. So Emma fango and other finished product and cost review. The domestic factor, the exchange rate, and I think that the exchange rate, is likely going to see more appreciation against the dollar, especially in the month of December, because by then, various imports for Christmas, imports will be, and also the remittance of the about it is the appreciation in December. To see the no continue this way, it means that Fango because of the appreciation of the city and also stabilize international market prices.
I see, but what's your trend now? Usually around this time, is it always the case that year on situation, say by this time fuel a drop in this manner?
So your fuel, historically, especially 2022 first window of November, one of the highest, actually peak for prices of food at that time. Diesel for almost 53 Ghana cedis per liter, and petrol for almost 18 Ghana cedis per liter. So that's sharp, by because of the depreciation of the currency. By that time, it didn't depreciate almost by 20%, and they contributed to that surge in 2022. Aside, so that's a year, because of the Africa, Russia, and the Ukraine conflict now starting off, it caused a lot of supply disruption, including premiums, insurance, food costs, SSI, cost. You see, product number cost so far in the year 2022. In 2023, product no price is started. Most of the finished product the price is not started. It's a buffer. But now the not a depreciation of the currency. Unfortunately for us, this year, 2024, currency depreciating, and the price of the product also not a source back. Because of currency depreciation, not still Fango was slow. But fortunately for us, this year we started around 15 Ghana cedis. Saying yes, 1 Ghana cedi introduction on the price of the product, and compared to say in the crown, a little bit more on 9 Ghana cedis. 80 per liter.
I see.
The 1 Ghana cedi so and the petrol a bit on 10. The city no continuously of the appreciation. I'm sure not petrol, for example, a bit maybe less than 10 Ghana per liter by December, and this must also be based on a stable international market outlook. Product of the various products, the market price it decreases further. Now the city no continues to appreciate, especially the city no do by 9 Ghana cedis to $1, and I'm about 10 Ghana cedis, 9 Ghana 80 pesos to $1. And whereby December petrol, for example, a bit more turn around 9 Ghana cedis 80 pesos, and that's a maximum around 10 20 pesos per liter.
I see. Any kasempa nti yebeda wase wo ho ni nchechirimu a odi amaye, but nano me hwe the conversation on Galamsey, and I spotted you somewhere in one of the videos. They say, is it to suggest say I mean the conversation on Galamsey and so we were very much interested in that.
Yes, NCR say, say a mine say irregularity Galamsey, and I say stop for illegal mining. One of the areas I was saying beyond the ban on imports of
excavators,
other earth moving equipment,
Yeah.
And I said beyond Matisse EPA, the ambassador of Bane, Chanfine manufacturing, and Chanfine imports. Beyond all these, there are some of these equipment and that's why in circulation, and that's why in operation. And these equipment, we say ammonia fuel free. So if MP, any abino, it means stop the supply of fuel to some of these machines are, and also make me abwa amayetimi up to galamsey because fuel supply is critical to illegal mining because ammonia fuel champagne one fuel generator as a pumping machine one fuel excavator no and also into but if you say on fuel no ammonia free. One is that over a fuel distribution say Ansah na obey bulk consumer, bulk consumer, you be autonomous, you be duomo, no OMC, you are not running a manufacturing plant because of the running manufacturing plant and obey here products to do. Also be line say and also be registered with the regulator. The oil being swap, oil bulk supplier, and also OMC. Our supply move here on so in the duomo. They say hotel and manufacturing plants we are also see able to do so bit number until they also failing in Ansah. They also OMC so who register with MP now throw more consumers in the edema MP. The reason is that the MP people who say will be air tone fango ewo hand cream and our drums. The MP people who say will be air tone fango for gallon and what we call it that 20-liter gallon.
Yes.
And they also be ton but most of these communities now, illegal mining. We have a lot of these retail outlets. OMCs with retail outlets are almost filling drums, almost filling gallons, and their volumes, too huge that only one so those volumes are near Mabia. You cutting down the supply of fuel to this site. What they check is population is saying. How do they were saying? The most volumes are consumed. Those volumes are all going to the illegal mining. So let's cut the supply. And I think we can use regulations by the MP, or more two separate units, or more intelligent units. More what we call the PMMS unit, product monitoring. All these product monitoring intelligence units, so much we coordinate well with the district assembly, we coordinate well with lands and natural resource ministry, we coordinate with mineral commission.
Okay.
And all the other sector agencies now.
I see.
We climb out the supply. No more.
I see. Mr. Ansah, was a Uber studio near Dinkompa because Sansem we any adventure would be. I think it's a mudopa. There was a boy children sooner penny for 18 and someone who came by.
That's my child.
All right, penny that's it. Sir, anyone named the other boy median and area. All right, here was Benjamin Ansah, Executive Director Adema Semse. And no atwitwe we energy analyst. No na yedimu wie na Kwame.
Hey, na national service on send them course so
Jack
Sina who auditor general report
forensic audit
pa
we forensic audit
dito
I tell you na ebusia
but chale Sina almost serious note
hey serious
obi a utie mi bia skidi bia warana
emo ni mbre
don't envy no
Debbie but your Debbie o kan to say sikedi bia so am no nyagire
mame Sam
can I say
oh no Sam say Sam
can I say
they don't know chemtwi
me chemtwi
u chemtwi
amanyo ni bia no a wagina nim eno de o kan say ametimi ni
okay but
yes can be a manyoni
sina yammo endra yebo commander my bo Sam Jonah.
Okay.
Dr. Sam Jonah. The video.
Okay.
And no reason issue be I say over cantonment ha. Airport hills ni de keke kan wona.
Yes.
High rising buildings no musi na one mun see.
Only mom.
Na se banglo nkra na okoji mpo a. Obi si dan obi entim. So those people no. Skado munya wo he.
Yo, ebusiafo.
But yes serious.
Serious. Ebusiafo ensem otwego na yensa ka bi.
President. Ansah Attorney General. Ode we wan chi obia mpo a.
Sa asem we die.
Na National Service Secretariat Authority. So wan chi obia mpo a.
Eho die.
Hey,
because ebusia putupuria amanebo a yensa.
Oh, serious.
Yes, see a forensic audit report. Ebusia bra Facebook to be cabra na director producer we champion papa na be he wani so ade o Facebook ne so ebusia ne da Facebook ne so no enti se wo himfa so ko se a Facebook ne so na he dream yes say 120,000 national service personnel receive allowances for multiple years.
It we no see na from 2018 to 2024
sir.
It we no nipa no we the national service o
we
na so say je
yeah
obi so ha ewom oje osa je biom
sir double
ti say me we na company ema me 1,005 what you say class media group my be national service wa na metime we ma ya say masenga another national service na maybe ituba ko no na me say gibium
yeah
but see na obukomu no se me na meche to say 1,005 a month secretary ni penifo no no man say me times 3 times 5
sir and that is what the report, the forensic audit report.
Number of payments.
70 plus times. Hey, just there.
And number of national service personnel, right?
Yes.
NPS, right?
Yes.
2. Now, over down now.
13 for
14 to 19 times no.
Charlie. 110.
Hey, where you clear evidence the Attorney General say we no I am kind of say bargaining.
Plea bargaining.
No plea bargaining. Hey, we also discard by ya beje but so dim.
And the episode for and then that was this one. I mean what everybody is.
Hey, obi catch you say Ghana skin ni ha boa.
We crack say we advance here ma panetre say sika wo krom ha papa na yene na ye tutu ye ho ne ye say sika waste sika wie sika. I mean ebusia for brebe hwe wani so ade na 30 to 39 times of one day.
But is serious.
This is serious. This is
when we say investigation the koyama a PSA almost 2.45 billion financial way
irregularities no
enkwa intesi can echo one ho and give to your friends give to worry why you ni bi
orongo send the boss ho
hey nana bi no a board chairman
there be
no ka board no
so no a CEO kura Ansah obedi CEO kakra
because when from 2018
yes and
to 2024
and your boy
it obia wafa national service secretary of piano as so go jina court
yeah
wait
hey
nkofo we nyina te Ghana ha
na report no the American kura de
sina nkofo we nyina te Ghana ha say ebi ekwa asori
we ni ebe ni chairman asori harvest ya
yes
ebe ni chairman
ebe ni chairman
wo bibi ni ho wo ba ko tire chiri kura
we mu nyina
ebe ni chairman
tuwenu nyina no
wo ba wo say praise the Lord
tuwenu nyina ye kan Ghana fo a ye dom ka ho say hom ye Ghana fo ni bi
na wo ye Ghana fo
no wenum ye kan Ghana fo a ye come so me Ghana fo bi ye kan good citizens la say omo ma dwum da ho so mkoto aba
yeah
wenum nyina ye kan bi say omo so mkoto aba ni bi obi a o bo man no na o person man ne bo na uyo oman no na oman si kakakra yes say ye de boa enyafo ne ye de ye mpuntutuma e de ma oman no wo okobra ne nko an no ultimatum sike chuchuru give to worry about your kadada let's also be
serious enya de ye ni kasempa anti afena yensa can forensic audit no
but Sina is too bad it's too bad
in the coming days you know the boy tiri na fe ye di nchire mu mapa no e di abremu bebi bia wotie ye bia no ye di dwumedie no sia ne sa na fe ye bie kwan mu na enuanom a wonom nso ba beto dwumedie ne so no omoba messages ni bi wa ha kama mebobo kakra so na fe ana kwa no bi wika
there your can say we na Attorney General we the evidence that clear cause we know forensic audit in there
or see evidence that clear
sina for we the forensic audit in there we remove with the do so
and that's the essence of forensic audit we know touch the sensitive areas
Charlie
bibi e she baby piaba bibi e she baby ano ebe piaba
nti we sina onim say gift or edaso wo GF ho
so ye esco member
odaso wo GF ho
eno de emfa ho ne de wa ye o ye esco member unless say bia bibia ntansa bono court etimi hunu say abono I mean in fact omo bua ne for say ana say before obi free board ne so
na we twa ma court bua ne for odem
sa na mranika
emraben sia na mayema some of the politicians for we are conform any some na bom ho ban say on to proving guilty then they are not then
say we say Musa Abatwa and what they about say putting pressure on the current government over the LGBTQ bill should have faith in President Mahama. He's not like President Akufo-Addo, who played to the gallery and failed to sign the bill. The parliament passed when the parliament passed it. Now that the anti-LGBTQ bill has been relayed, I strongly believe President Mahama will do the needful by assenting to it once it reaches his table. Francis Oseya Ediabo say Akufo-Addo pa de. Ochina biu. Okay. Citizen inside do or say Accra100.5FM they do all right and I mean for back being count na fe yen sorry dwumedi ne so kwame I mean for last one being count na fe we say the MPP supporters without jobs will come on social media and defend the corruption. Okay. MPP never again. The MPP is a dangerous political party. And also NPP never again. Jadon Uredu and the buy. Say our Ghanaians supporting the MPP. Okay, ni lati and kana junisa. Kofi Juma or say their cups are full. No. Tiabusia ya di djumadi enu nyina no ABC ewa ha na yada masese moje bre na moni yen esi nkunwa ewo citizen show so ende due Accra100.5 enti yebeda mase monkoswa na muntie edwumedi a eba etwa dwumedi so a ebe nyina medin Dr. Desmond Kofiana na mene mena metene mu edema Kwabena Bobie Ansah ewo ho senior bibia wo bia Nyankopon inhira yeda se nyame yadoma echina ebesen hia